Hola Yuppie everybody! Hola Yuppie everybody! Oh god, wait. Oh god, wait. Okay, I was wondering why you could hear me twice. Apparently I had my Twitch window open in the background. Ah! Okay, hola Yuppie everyone! I hope you're doing well. Sorry about that little delay. I had everything ready, and then all of a sudden my mouse started glitching out. So I couldn't move it, and I had to like you do Control Alt Z and Alt F4 a bunch of software before my mouse started working again. Apparently, it started working again once I killed Umineko. I hope it doesn't start glitching out now. Okay, let's start up the game, and hopefully my mouse won't get stuck this time. Good, okay, it's not glitching out this time. Okay, so let's switch up to the screen. And let's pull it up. There we go. So, is the chat overlay working? I think the chat overlay glitched out for a second. Let me test something. Okay, it's working. Jeez. Time for Beatrice! Yes. Today we are going to continue Umineko, chapter 1. Last time we left off at a grandpa throwing a tantrum because he got called to have lunch with his grandchildren. So let's see what we have in store today. Load. I think this is where we left off. Okay, it works. Lovely. How is the volume of the game? I hope it's good. I can hear it pretty well, but I'm not sure how it's for everyone else. A little bit too loud. Okay, I'll turn it down a little. How about now? I adjusted a little bit. How is it now? And now? I'm trying not to... I'm being very careful. Because last time I turned down the volume so bad that nobody could hear anything, so I'm almost paranoid. Okay, I hope this is enough though. You need to be able to hear the voices. Okay, so as I was saying, last time we left off with Kinzo yelling and crying and breaking stuff, flying into the room because der gute Klaus called him to have lunch with his grandkids. And then he said, I want in Genji, and now Genji is here, and we're gonna see what happens next. Genjiでございます。
Genjiか。何故私をこれほどに待たすのか。そこには誰もおるまいな。はい。私だけでございます。
I want to see Genji and only Genji. Kinzo returned to his seat in the study and pressed an old-fashioned switch on the table. After a small delay, the heavy sound of the door unlocking could be heard. Kinzo was convinced that his family wanted to make a mess of his study. Or perhaps someone had once opened the window for some air and ended up scattering things that, to him, were important research materials, leaving him in a terrible mood. Yes, I remember very well. Kinzo had outfitted his room with a formidable lock, preventing anyone from entering without his permission and thereby sealing himself in a jail of his own making. Genji, whom he trusted most, was relatively free to enter the room, but even that didn't always hold. If Kinzo was in a bad mood, even Genji wouldn't be able to enter. What do you mean? Wasn't the mood he was in before not bad enough? Anyone else would be limited to holding a conversation through the door, unable even to see Kinzo's face. And most of the time, what they could hardly be called a conversation. However, this didn't trouble the rest of the family much. After all, it just wasn't worth the effort to disturb his aging family head, who was impossible to please and always stayed shut away, immersed in his research. So basically the kids are like, yeah, whatever, just let the boomer be. Taking advantage of his refusal to leave his room, they supported his isolation, putting his care entirely into the hands of the servants. Oh, yeah, the green, toxic looking like alcohol beverage. Genji heard the corner of the study. There, suspicious-looking bottles boasting venomous colors were on display. Oh, all of these here in the background. Yeah, I see them where there should be books. It's just beverages, even though one of them looks like a perfume bottle. They were actually liquor, but considering the shady atmosphere of this room, one might easily suspect them of being some ghastly poison. Inside the study, the mysterious collection of books gathered by Kinzo had grown into a mountain. They were bizarre, ancient or banned books, all of them either forbidden, cursed, or sealed. But if you tried to call them old books, Kinzo would fly into a rage and say, "Call them grimoires!" Jesus, what an extra uncle. Well, alcohol can be poisoned to a certain amount. Yeah, that's true, but would you describe a wine as venomous looking? There were also many mysterious objects that presumably held some meaning with regards to black magic, like candles suspiciously melted and molded into strange shapes. The constellations drawn on a certain celestial globe contained quite a few shapes that would draw puzzled looks from anyone familiar with today's night sky. No, but hard liquor for sure. Okay, I see your point. The carelessly strewn about books contain many illustrations, all of them of a religious or mysterious nature, including some depicting demonically grotesque subjects or bizarre diagrams of various magical circles. And above all, a sweet poisonous smell filled the room, profoundly assaulting the eyes and nose of those who entered the room for the first time. Eventually, it must surely make a person go numb and lose their grip on reality. As most heavy drinking would do, I suppose, inside that study, Genji prepared Kinzo's usual drink with a well-trained hand. No one would even think of drinking such an ominous dark green liquid in that complex and ornate glass, unless someone first told them it was alcohol. He poured a little into the glass. Then, he placed a cube of sugar in a strangely shaped spoon and poured water from a pitcher over it. Okay. Strangely, when the transparent water was poured, the dark green liquid turned into cloudy white. What the heck is that? It was a strange optical illusion, as though the water had caused a chemical reaction and made the drink become even more unrecognizable as liquor. Okay. Then Genji added original flavors Kinzo loved, fine-tuning its taste. There was no recipe. Its success was measured only by Kinzo's mood swings when he drank it, and had taken Genji many decades to learn how to do it right. Genji placed the glass on a tray and walked over to Kinzo. By this time, Kinzo was gazing out the window like some like some gloomy boomer. Kinzo had regained his composure and was now unrecognizable as the shouting, screaming, yelling baby man from a few moments ago. Looking at this man from behind as he tilted his glass and gazed down at the scenery beyond the window, he projected a sense of dignity and intelligence. Okay, sure thing, I believe you. To allow Kinzo to set his glass down at any time. Genji motionless waited behind Kinzo and to his left as though he were a living sideboard. Just like a paper cutout. Then without averting his eyes from the window, Kinzo held out his glass. There was only a mouthful remaining. It was only a gesture intended to set it upon the tray, but a motion to hand the glass over to Genji. Jesus, let him be. Genji respectfully received the glass and inclined it a little to its taste his content. After that, he gulped it down. No me tomoyo. Kinzo smiled at his loyal subject, who refused to put aside rank even when asked to. However, he was not making fun of him. His smile was relaxed, as though chuckling at a close friend, old unshakable habit. That sounds vaguely romantic. I'm sure it wasn't, but that sounded deep. Kinzo smiled as if he didn't intend to give any flattery. They are really good bros, I suppose. the truest sense of bros before wives, since apparently in last episode it was revealed that Kinzo hardly trusted his wife as much as Genji. I'm sure your sons call you more than just eccentric behind your back. Oops. Is he gonna be like, Genji, I'm gonna give my entire fortune to you? Actually, also another thing I'm gonna... Okay, this is what I like. I was kind of bothered that a little bit of the chat was looking below the game. I was like, no, this is bad cropping. My graphic design can't do this. So Krause is a gambler. Jesus Christ. What a way. I don't think your daughter will want to consume you. Dude, it's not her fault that the guy dumped her. Jesus Christ. Dude, Maria's 6. Chill the fuck out. I'm pretty sure the Oshiromiya family is incompetent because of one raising figure. It's right here in this room, and it's not Genji.
れがベアトリーチェの呪いであることも分かっておる。黄金の魔女め、それが私への復讐のつもりか。憎みたくば憎むがよい。逃げたければ逃げるがよい。逃がさぬ、逃がさぬ、逃がさぬ、逃がさぬわ。
Yikes.
お前は私のものだ。常に私の腕の中でなくてはならん。私の生涯のすべてなのだ。
It's coming.
我が鳥かごにて永遠に私だけにささやき続けるのだ。ベアトリーチェ。
There it is.
なぜに微笑み返してはくれぬ。
Jesus.
ベアトリーチェ。
How many times has Genji heard this? Jesus Christ. After howling, Kinzo choked once again. As usual. Genji set the tray and glass down and rubbed his master's back. Genji's facial expression did not change. It's like, this shit again. It was always like this. When he seemingly deranged fit subsided, Kinzo regained his composure once again. Have you considered taking him to therapy? It was like seeing two different people. A wild Kinzo had composed Kinzo, living together inside one body. And
このままぼやききった妖精を怠慢に過ごすことなどもはや耐えられはせん。この身に最後にとするコインがあるならば、それを悪魔たちのルーレットに託してみたい。
Follow the granola is now following. Thank you for the follow. I hope you'll have fun.
魔法の力はいつもかけるリスクで決まる。
I'm reading Umineko for the first time.
日本古来の呪術である牛の国参りがそうであろう。7日間儀式を目撃されてはならないというリスクを支払うからこそ魔力が宿る。困難なリスクが生じれば生じるほどに魔力は強く生じるのだ。神話に登場する数々の奇跡は天文学的リスクに奇跡的な低確率を得て成就した驚愕すべき魔力の結晶なのだと言える。モーゼが海を割ったのは神の奇跡ではない。蹂躙の計りに乗せられ軍勢によって航海に追い詰められた絶体絶命のリスクが奇跡の魔力を生んだのだ。
Uh-huh. Okay.
同じことが同じ規模で繰り返されようとも再び海が割れることはないだろう。なぜならモーゼは力ある者たちのルーレットのアソーギナユタをかけたよりも多く存在する目の中に一つだけ刻まれた奇跡を見事引き寄せることができたからだ。その天文学的確率に勝利できる力、そう奇跡をつかみ取る運気はすなわち魔力なのだ。強大な魔力を得るためには絶望的なリスクを背負わねばならぬ。魔力もたぬ者はそれを賭けでなく自暴自棄と呼ぼう。しかし真に魔力ある者はその奇跡をつかみ取り神秘を成就させるのだ。
I wonder if he rants about this at lunch.
もしも私にその魔力があるならば私はその奇跡をつかみ取るだろう。生涯を費やした願いを実現できるだろう。
Kinzo looked up to the sky outside the window. He spread his arms as if appealing to someone up in the skies. Is he gonna say Beatrice again? Yes. Did you speak Portuguese? Yes, I do speak Portuguese. I am a half Brazilian. Thank you for the follow, Aikayo Cesar. Umineko Shiromiya is now following. Thank you for the follow. Kids is just not okay. My god, Kinzo, maybe consider just drawing some self-insert art with Beatrice and you'll be content. I keep saying I want someone to scream my name the same way he screams for Beatrice. I mean, yeah! His nonsensical yells became a scream and then a wail. Kinzo slumped to the floor, tearing at it with both hands. Genji had no choice but wordlessly watch over his master's lamentation. I wonder if he's thinking, not this shit again. How many times I have to listen to Beatrice's name while I'm here? Oh, seems not for long. Oh, we're back to lunch. Der gute Klaus.
せっかくこうして1年ぶりの会合に集まってくれた諸君と昼食を共にできないことを非常に残念にしておられた。ゴーダ、ランチを始めてくれ。
I wonder how long everyone was waiting to start lunch. I wonder what the actors laughed when recording those parts. I'm pretty sure they had a lot of fun, so I can imagine they laughed a lot.
南條先生、そんなにお父様のお具合は悪いの?
Oh god, I am having a trip now listening to Eva's voice. A good friend of mine, who is also a huge Umineko fan and Higurashi fan as well, she told me Takano's voice actress from Higurashi, the doctor woman, is the same as Eva, and immediately my brain went from I like Eva a lot to I don't trust Eva anymore. Yeah, I would say it's a mental problem. No, but you can prescribe a therapist.
おいおい、機嫌ってまたかよ。そりゃないぜ。こちとら、秋のクソ忙しい時期にスケジュール都合して、ご機嫌伺いに来てるんだ。それをよ。
よかったじゃないか、ルドルフ。
Oh, someone is honking their cars outside.
ご機嫌は伺えたんだ。それとも、不機嫌な親父殿を私に代わり、お前が説得して連れてきてくれるのかね。
まさか。
Rudolph shrugged. Apparently, though, Rudolph was willing to be indignant at how self-centered his father was. He wasn't particularly disappointed to be spared a face-to-face meeting.
夕食までにはその機嫌治りそうなの？クラウス兄さん。
I don't think so.
そんなことは知らんよ。親父殿に直接聞いてみるといい。もっとも、声をかけない方が機嫌の治りは早いと思うよね。
源氏さんだけだよ。じい様の機嫌を直せるのは。情けないぜ。自分の親の機嫌を使用人に直させるんだからよ。
ジェシカ、余計なことは言わなくていい。
Let her speak! How dare you! She planned for her complaint to be heard only by her cousins, but it had reached even Kraus's ears. I wonder if I should say Kraus or Klaus, like his name appears to be more German than Japanese. Scolded Jessica Scout and turned away, sulking.
機嫌がうんぬんってことは病状はそんな悪くないんじゃねえの？
I don't know, Battler.
元気がないってんならともかく機嫌が悪いってのは少なくとも気はしっかりしてる証拠だぜ。
おじい様は特に強い気力をお持ちだからね。でも体が必ずしもそれに伴えるとは限らないよ。去年からずっと余命3ヶ月って言われ続けてる。
Damn. Okay, so he's a trooper.
最初の診断が正しいならおじい様は気力だけで流らえてるってことになる。
He refuses to go to the grave before he sees Beatrice, I guess.
気遣ってあげないといけないよ。
Lunch started with the family's head seat still empty. The man who should be sitting there had already grown old, and the brilliant glory which had rebuilt the Ushiromiya family in the span of a single lifetime was being forgotten. Even though they were beginning the meal with that seat still empty, no one felt it was that odd anymore. I'm pretty sure they're happy that Kinzo is not there. Oh! I keep forgetting this is an eye catcher and not like, oh no, suddenly we're getting killed. So it's almost 2 p.m. I guess, 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. I'm not good at reading clocks. I'm sorry. The Shiromiya family conference was held once every year on the first weekend of October. If a normal family were to hold a so-called family conference, you'd expect it to be nothing more than a reunion of rarely seen relatives who greet each other around buckets of sushi or something. However, part of the family's great fortune had been lent out to grandfather's children, and no one in this family was considered an adult until they had met with success in business. Damn! That's rough. So this meeting literally was a conference. How much of the fortune was invested? What sort of business was conducted? How much profit was earned? Can you imagine, like, 5-year-old Jessica and George sitting there playing with a train toy or airplanes, and they're like, George, what business have you managed to achieve? And George just like, plane? As a result, how much of fortune borrowed from the main family could be repaid? Asking 5-year-old George to pay rent. Or possibly how much more will be borrowed for future business ventures. What lessons had they learned, and what could they learn from their mistakes? It seems that topics like these were discussed very seriously in the past. My dad said it was like lying on a bed of nails. Apparently, it used to be a very serious family meeting where people were bathed in scornful and angry voices, and some people even got slapped despite their age. Yikes! However, that had become a thing of the past, thank God. Now, with everyone pursuing their own business ventures and achieving success, it was becoming more of a normal yearly get-together. Even so, telling grandfather about recent events was extremely stressful. So while it was nothing more than a simple get-together for us grandchildren, it was still a real stomach ache for our parents. The absence of the man who was the mere source of all this trouble, regardless of the reason, probably made today's lunch taste much more delicious. The phrase, while the demon is not around, everyone can relax, comes to mind. Anyway, let's introduce Jessica's father, who appears to be quite of an asshole, whose face I haven't seen in 6 years. The man sitting to my father's left is his older brother and Jessica's father. Uncle Kraus? I hope that's what's written. This name sure is easy to read. Kraus. Okay, so I kind of was wondering what was weird about the names. Like, Battler describes the names as weird, but after, like, refreshing my Japanese class memories, I remember you normally don't use kanji for names that aren't, like, Japanese, you know? When you use, like, a name that is, or a name or a word that is foreign, like, say, truck, you don't write that in kanji or hiragana. You write that specifically in katakana. And this is what's happening with the Ushiromiya family. They're using like European names, but they're writing it all in kanji instead of katakana, how it should be. So that's why it's weird. At least that's my assumption. I would like to ask a Japanese person's perspective on this. Now that we've gotten used to this string of weird names, our perspective is totally skewed. So Kraus doesn't actually seem that bad. It even started to sound kinda cool. Just like with Aunt Natsuhi, I didn't have many memories of speaking with Uncle Kraus. We had never one to chat to children, and I felt like he was always talking with the adults, just like Aunt Natsuhi. According to my father's gossip, he was spiteful and a violent man. Oh no. If what he said is true, Uncle Kraus used to be very domineering from his position as the oldest sibling, and was despised by all other siblings. Though despite that, those siblings all seem to be chatting happily together. I'm pretty sure they're passive-aggressively roasting each other whenever they can. Oh well, even if their relationship was bad when they were children, sometimes when people grow up and live apart from each other, their relationships change. I don't think so in their case. That's probably what it was. After all, they all had children of about the same age. By sharing the family environment, they probably profited by exchanging opinions. Maybe because of that, a short while ago, the circle of parents began to discuss the exams Jessica and I will be taking. Jessica, in order to escape questions about the exams from my father on her left, purposefully faced right while firing off a rapid series of comments, not giving him any chance to get a word in. Moving on, let's look at the end opposite from Kraus and the others. In the very last seat at the table, the old gentleman with a sturdy physique sat facing Kirie-san. This was my first time meeting him. I had only just been introduced to him, but it seems like his grandfather's personal doctor, a name called Nanjo. I heard he used to own a huge clinic on the nearby island of Nijima, but he turned it over to his son and began living a life of leisure in his old age. He had grown grandfather since the very beginning. Oh wait, he had known grandfather since the very beginning, sorry about that, when the mansion was first constructed on his island, and had built up a relationship over several decades. I thought at first that the two of them might have gotten to know each other through grandfather's suspicious hobbies, but it seems he was actually grandfather's chess partner. I see. That kind of hobby seems very like our grandfather, what with his love of all things Western. Not just probably the only person who could enter Drokenjima despite being neither a family member nor a servant. He looked like a calm old gentleman as he listened to the discussion between Kirie and the other woman who sat near to him. Considering how long he stayed by the side of our short-tempered grandfather, his generous heart was probably nothing to laugh at. Dealing with Kinzo is a doozy, I would say. Let me hydrate a little. Sorry. Still, even if he was a family doctor, having anyone outside the Ushiromiya family attend the family conference was a little odd. It made me think that grandfather's condition might worsen so much it'd be a major topic of discussion at today's conference. After all, George said something like that just a second ago. Something about how he'd been getting continuous reports since around last year that grandfather didn't have long to live. It's nasty to think about it, but consider how rich grandfather is. At the time of his death, his wealth will suddenly be released, probably along with a fair share of our parents' stomach acid. And it'll lead us to ulcer for everyone. After all, this sort of thing just gets messy when there's more wealth to be divided. There's a good chance they'll be talking about stuff like that at the family conference. Still, it's not like it's got anything to do with us kids. Finally, even though he hasn't shown up, let me introduce our grandfather. The person who should be sitting in that incipient chair is Ushiromiya Kinzo. It really sucks. Everyone else in the family has these weird names, but he's got this perfectly normal one himself. If only his name were written Kinzo, but he lets us call him Goldsmith or something. I'd totally freak out. Yeah, Goldsmith sounds like an okay name. As you can probably guess by now, he's a frightening person with an extremely short temper. I'm one of his grandchildren, not a son, and I haven't seen him since elementary school. Thanks to that, I have no memory of being beaten myself, but our parents were apparently raised with an iron fist. That earlier conversation between my dad and Uncle Kraus, about who should go convince grandfather to come down, seemed pretty darn funny once you know their background. You can't really tell grandfather's story without covering that pivotal event before the Showa era, between 1926 and 1989. Until the Meiji, 1868 between 1912, and Taisho, years 1912 to 1926 eras, the Ushinomiya family was great and prosperous. They owned several spinning mills, making them rich enough to just double over laughing every day as the money kept rolling in. Incidentally, grandfather was a member of a branch family and had pretty much nothing to do with the main family. Not only was he down the list of people who could inherit the headship, but he had hardly any contact with the glamorous main family. That sucks, I guess. However, during the Great Kanto earthquake in the year Taisho 12, 1923, the mansion owned by the Ushinomiya family in Odawara was flattened. Woo! The spinning mills in Tokyo were all burned down in a huge fire, and the Ushinomiya family lost most of its wealth, family members in an instant. Woo! Sounds rough. So once they started trying to figure out who the successor to the Ushinomiya family should be, they apparently found no one remaining except Kinzo and his branch family. In Kinzo's later reminiscences, he referred to this as good fortune so great that it overturned fate. With that, grandfather's boring everyday life did a 180. He was entrusted with reviving the Daiya Ushinomiya family, which had lost nearly all of its wealth. However, just because he had been entrusted with this task didn't mean he could accomplish it. Apparently, those around him weren't really expecting much. However, this is when grandfather began displaying his extraordinarily talent and good luck. Hi! Hope you're doing well. What chapter are you playing? I am playing chapter 1 right now. I'm not sure how far I am, but I am at the part just after the family had lunch without Kinzo. Grandfather used all of the family's remaining wealth, as well as everything from the hair on his head to his toenails, as collateral in order to borrow a massive amount of money. Enjoy Umineko. Thank you! I think I'll enjoy it. I love Higurashi a lot, so because of the new Higurashi anime has several Umineko references, I finally caved to my interest in trying to get into Umineko, and now I am getting into it. Once he'd built up gigantic war chests, he immediately invested in business. It was like someone tumbling down a hill on a bike without any brakes, and then jumping onto a neighboring bike, and then another one. Just like some crazy street performance. Sick. I'll bet everyone thought grandfather had no business ability whatsoever. Yeah, you are on time to finish Umineko for the end of Go and Sotsu. I think so. I'm not sure if I'll manage to finish Umineko until Sotsu ends, but I hope I manage a significant chunk. However, after several miracles and turns of good luck, with coincidences piling up and every chance taken care of, he was suddenly in control of powerful connections with the occupying forces. Oh god, I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name, but thank you for the follow. I hope you enjoy my Umineko stream. At that time, MacArthur and the GI HQ were the ultimate authority in Japan. Grandfather, in a twinkle of an eye, began succeeding in business under the protection of the occupying forces, quickly becoming very rich. By this point, it's probably safe to say that information, not luck, saved the day. He must have made some seriously deep connections within occupying forces. Grandfather knew beforehand about emergency demands that would made for the Korean War. No, it was more than that. He must have predicted those emergency demands from the very beginning, when he started investing in his money. The history books make it sound like all of Japan made a large profit off of emergency demands during the Korean War, but that isn't actually true. Only a very limited number of the super rich played the money game and made an easy profit. most of the citizens remain poor. That sucks. In other words, grandfather was a member of his extremely lucky group of winners. I'm pretty sure this all happened during the year Showa 25, 1950 or so. The Great Kanto earthquake happened in Taisho 13, 1924, so that means grandfather was able to revive the near-dead Ushiromiya family in only about 20 years to a level even higher than it had ever been before. With that, you think he'd revive the family in Odawara, but for some reason he went and did something as crazy as buying an entire small island in the Izu archipelago. Yeah, sounds like something a mega rich person would do. Buying an entire island is not something that you can ordinarily do today, obviously. However, grandfather was clever. He contacted the GHQ and applied for the establishment of a marine resource base. He acquired this island as a business property, then tossed that project aside and claimed it as his own plot of land. After the war, there were prevention measures against food shortages, and having the sponsorship of the GHQ meant that nobody could oppose him. From what I've heard, the Tokyo metropolis of that day offered this land to him practically for free. Later, Tokyo made difficulties by telling Kinzo to return the land, but the pushy GHQ intervened. Anyway, it seems under-the-table bribes did their work well. In the end, the city gave up in frustration. I would do the same, and to be even crazier, I would recreate my Hannibal Crossing island. Sounds ideal. Grandfather, with considerable skill and good luck, managed to weather the stormy seas of that period, obtaining a vast fortune in his own island. Of course, it probably wasn't all luck. He was obsessed with all things Western, I can see that, which helped him cultivate his English skills. He was able to see this to his advantage and sink his teeth into the GHQ. A mansion was built on the island soon after. This mansion, in fact, grandfather, with his love of Western style, made this once an uninhabited island a canvas upon which he could realize his dreams to his heart's content. He now had the Western mansion of his dreams, overflowing with emotion and atmosphere, and a beautiful garden featuring all sorts of roses. And he had a private beach where nobody other than himself would ever be permitted to leave a footprint. Oh my god. This would be a dream come true for any boy. Or any woman. Or anyone in between. Anyone. After that, he made good use of his huge fortune, becoming a large stockholder in the extremely stable iron and steel industry, and was able to live an easy and comfortable life just using the dividends? Whatever that is. Well, he's just that incredible. This kind of person usually has the ability to foresee and predict the future, or at least that is how they're portrayed after the fact. But grandfather denies all of that, repeatedly saying that he was simply blessed with extraordinary luck. He is living in a dream. Oh my god! I wouldn't be surprised if Umineko suddenly pulled "it was all a dream" twist. I hope not, but let's see. I know this game has some mindfuck going on. Anyway, even a lord like that can't help but grow increasingly eccentric when locked up alone on an island, where all his dreams are made real. Everyone knows that he's had a Western obsession from the start. I can see that very clearly. But none of our parents really know when his bizarre black magic hobby began. Did his love of black magic begin way back when he had become fascinated with everything Western, or did his miraculous strength of good luck while reviving his family cause him to feel a mysterious power in himself? At some point, grandfather began to make the research of black magic his life's work. He filled his study with suspicious books, chemicals, and magical items as he became increasingly bizarre. From what I heard, those around him warmly watched over him, figuring that someone who had achieved success in life had a right to do as he pleased, but there's no way that's true. Sorry, I had to adjust myself a little. They were probably just creeped out, thinking, that's disgusting, I don't want to be involved. Anyway, that agitated period was an age of big gambles, with both opportunities and risks. Let's say grandfather was born in this time period. He would have no opportunities and would probably have advanced like a chess piece from mandatory education to college at a leisurely pace. Never becoming more than an average salaryman. Now what does that sound like? Pretty sure that sounds like capitalism. If that happened, he'd probably have sat somewhere happily talking behind his boss's back like all of us do. No, not in a fancy dining hall like this. More like at a table in some bar. This one doesn't need to sell turnips to get rich. Yep. Then again, I'll bet the family conference would be a whole lot more relaxing if that were the case. Okay, that's enough about the old geezer. Yeah! More importantly, let's talk about this incredible lunch!
前菜の刺身のサラダで俺はすでに確信してたね。
Oh, sashimi salad sounds good.
幸田さんは大したシェフだぜ。しかも魚は近海で取れたやつだろ。
Adjacent seas.
スーパーの刺身とはわけが違ったぜ。
おいおいよせよバトラー。育ちがバレちまうだろうが。
Everyone let out a big laugh. Damn it, you say that even though you love those cheap pubs. Who's your favorite character this far? I'm not sure if I can name a favorite character yet, since I am basically somewhere in the beginning. I did watch like the first few episodes, first 4 episodes of the anime, in which basically it covers this episode, but it was so long ago I barely remember anything. But I remember they showed a glimpse of Beatrice at the end. And I really like Beatrice. That's the main reason I'm playing Umineko. I also like Maria. I like Shannon. Jessica's nice. And I'm curious to see more about George. And even though I low-key don't trust Eva, I want to see more of her. I'm also interested in another character, but I don't want to name drop her yet in the potential of spoilers. There's actually 3 characters I really want to see in Umineko, but those 3 characters are characters I cannot name drop for now.
よくは知らねえんだけどよ。老舗ホテルでのれん分けだか派閥の分裂だかややこしいことがあってよ。そのトラブルで辞めざるを得なくなっちまったんだってさ。
Oh, did I actually? Oh, I didn't know this had a backlog. I accidentally pressed back instead of
それ
forward.
でその時、偶然お袋が使用人の求人を出してたわけなんだよ。
As Godan removed the empty plates, he began to recount his own bumpy past without losing his smile.
世の中というのは難しいものです。しかし、そのおかげでこうして今日、後宮家で再び料理人として腕を振るう機会を賜ることができました。
Forget the anime, that's the worst thing that ever happened to Mineko. I realized it after I finished watching the first chapter in anime form. I was like, this doesn't seem like a very good adaptation, so I dropped it for that reason.
大勢の方の笑顔も嬉しいですが、お仕えすると決めた限られた方々にだけ喜んでいただくために繊細なお仕事ができるのもとても楽しいことでございます。これもすべて機会をくださった奥様のおかげです。
Goda-san respectfully bowed his head towards Natsui.
応募のあった中でゴーダが一番腕が良かったからです。
Natsui looks like chronically tired.
客観的判断に基づくもので市場はありませんので感謝には及びません。
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be like her, like this when I'm an old woman at some things. Dang, why does old Natsui always have to sound so indifferent? If only she spoke with a bit more kindness, she might leave a different impression. Actually, never mind. I might be a little bit like Natsui, but I strive to be like Kumasawa-san. Especially with that laugh.
失礼いたします。
それでは
本日のデザートに移らせていただきます。
Goda-san and the others laid the beautifully adorned dessert out in front of us all. I guess it's true when they say you have another stomach for a dessert. Sorry. I thought I'd already filled up on delicious food, but as soon as I laid eyes on that dessert, my stomach started yelling, "More!" I don't know much about desserts, but this looked really good. White pudding-like substance was garnished with 2 shades of red sauce. And elegant rose petals adorned the dish. Normally, during a high-class meal like this, you're supposed to wait for the chef to extol the virtues of this particular meal before eating. However, Maria was completely indifferent to strict rules like that, so she got excited by this beautiful and delicious-looking dessert, jumping into the fray as soon as it was placed before her. Aunt Rosa scolded her, calling it bad manners, but Josh responded by saying, Now, it's okay. She's so cute! Maria exclaimed as she sampled the 2 colored sauces. Apparently one sauce was sweet and the other sour. Despite it being bad manners, I also stuck my little finger in and licked it. Whoa! One of the sauces was sour enough to make you pucker up. If it were yellow, I'd have suspected lemon, but I couldn't guess what kind of sourness would be red. I decided to ask Shannon, who was putting away the serving tray behind us.
Shannon-chan, この酸っぱいのは何のソースだい?
She doesn't know. Oh no! Shannon-chan hesitated. Maybe her job was just to set the table, so she doesn't really know. Maybe her job was just to set... Oh god, sorry, I repeated the same sentence. Still, even considering that, she seemed pretty stressed. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. Or did they use some ingredient that we'd be better off not knowing about? Maybe it's blood. While Aunt Natsuhi made a gesture that seemed to indicate an oncoming headache, Kumasawa-san, who was setting the table at the opposite seat, began to chuckle. Yes. God, I love her. Add her to the favorite character list. When I'm old, I'll be extremely curmudgeon only. Good morning, Veronica. And we go, fuck yourself. Sounds like how you'd be when you're older.
全然わかんねえぜ。というか、熊沢のばあさんがそういう笑い方すると不気味でならねえぜ。
No, it's not creepy. That laugh is special. Shut up, Butler. You don't know what good taste is.
正体は
内緒ですよ。お耳を拝借。
Kumasawa-san leaned across the other side of the table. I leaned forward myself when she asked. Their interest caught. Jessica, George, Aniki, and of course Maria also put their ears closer.
この酸っぱいのはですね、実はお魚のサバの絞り汁ですよ。
So blood.
サバ
That's crazy, we all thought. Horrified. Only Maria accepted it, nodding sagely.
ほう、サバは酸っぱいよ。絞ったらこうなる。
Damn. When Maria started clamoring that mackerel were sour, the adults were unable to contain their laughter. Only Aunt Rosa, her face red, whispered to Maria that mackerel is sour only once prepared as shimesaba. Ah, now I totally remember. Masala-san was always like this, wasn't she? I think I remember her tricking me too, in all sorts of ways when I was young. The most lethal has gotta be that one. Those flimsy black things in Chinese dishes. They're kikorage mushrooms. She told me they were penguin meat and I went all around like high school like a smartass telling everyone, didn't I? Oh my god. Kumasawa-san is amazing.
相変わらずだな。マリアが信じちゃうだろ
冗談ですよ。
It's
今から
joke.
ゴーダさんがソースの正体を教えてくれますからね。
Say, guess what I'm making for dinner? Sanji de pobre. Oh no. Good dinner. Koda looked a little bit put off about his masterpiece being laughed at for such a bizarre reason. But after clearing his throat once, he introduced the dessert to us.
それではデザートのご説明をさせていただきます。本日はご来賓の皆様が大層お気に入りでございましたバラの庭園にちなみまして、パンナコッタをローズガーデン風に仕上げてみました。
Oh, it's a panna cotta.
散らしてございますバラの花びらは当家の庭園より先ほど採取してきたものでございます。ソースはストロベリーとローズヒップの2色の赤をご用意しました。ストロベリーの甘味とローズヒップの酸味を交互にお楽しみになってください。
What is a rose hip?
なお花びらは観賞用となっておりますので、避けてからお召し上がりくださいませ。それではどうぞお楽しみください。
Whoa, man, I almost want to applaud before eating. Just like with medicine, reading the detailed description first seemed to make it work a whole lot better. As Koda-san elaborated on the details of this dessert, it started to feel even more appetizing. Seriously, should you call him subtle or just talented? The dessert was probably planned from the beginning, just taking the hint when we all stopped in front of the rose garden earlier today. He displayed an incredible and timely awareness by just adding a few rose petals from that garden. I kinda want to eat some panna cotta now. This combination of sweet and sour was also exquisite. If it was just sweet, you'd just get used to it and bore halfway through. But if you reach the sour sauce at that point, you'd get a really vivid taste. And then once you return to the sweet sauce, all the sourness in your mouth will be replaced with enjoyable sweetness. I'm sure everyone else felt that same way. Every time Goda-san passed by one of our seats, someone praised the taste of his presentation.
いかがですか、奥様。
相変わらず見事です。お客様をおもてなしするに値します。
恐れ入ります。奥様、ご存知ですか？ローズヒップには頭痛に効く効果もあるそうですよ。奥様に特にお気に入りいただけるかと思い、特別にご用意させていただきました。
そう、ありがとう。
She doesn't look very pleased.
超夏姫さん、ローズヒップは頭痛に効くって。
みたいね。聞くといいんだけど。
ああ、ゴーダさん、あんたには惚れるで。なあ、後であんたの待遇を聞かせてや。無理ならあんたの欲しい年収指立ててくれるだけでもいいんやで。あんたの腕がこの島だけで独占されとるのは人類の食文化に対する冒涜や。その腕わしの会社で振るってお客の皆さんを喜ばせてみる気はないかのう。
秀吉さん、うちのゴーダを引き抜かれるのですか？
Yes, with money.
これは困った。ゴーダの待遇をもっと良くしないと引き抜かれてしまいそうだ。
そうした方がいいわね。じゃないと引き抜かれて3食が熊沢さんのサバ料理にされちゃうわよ。
ほほほほほ。これは手厳しゅうございます。すっかり根に持たれてしまいまして。
Everyone let out a huge laugh. According to Jessica, Kumasawa-san's mackerel jokes were a running gag that our parents had long since gotten used to. Kumasawa-san often claimed that mackerels had precious nutritional value which could slow aging, making people smarter and more. Supposedly, while it couldn't stop the outward signs of aging, it helped prevent aging from the inside. Please tell me that secret. Since she was still spirited enough to tell those kind of jokes at her age, there must be something to that theory.
それでは失礼いたします。夕食にはふるってたくさんのサバ料理をお召し上がりいただきますので、どうぞご期待くださいませね。
Mackerel. Delicious.
期待してるよ。今晩はしめサバでキュッとしゃれ込みたいぜ。
それは素敵ね。
ええ、ございますよ。六軒島名物のサバ焼酎なるものがございまして。
Who was laughing like that? Was it Rudolph? Kumasawa-san, together with Shannon-chan, bowed and pushed the serving cart away. It was pretty funny to watch Koda-san, who looked like his show had totally been stolen, explain in a serious voice that he would be having cow steak for dinner.
熊沢さん、さっきはありがとうございました。
As she pushed the serving cart, Shannon bowed her head very deeply.
なんもお礼を言われることなんてありません。
Kumasawa may have played dumb, but she had obviously understood and saved Shannon in the nick of time. No, Kumasawa is the only maid who seems to actually help Shannon. That's very nice. Please. Shannon needs at least one person who cares about her, other than Kanan. Back when Battler had asked about the search, Shannon had unfortunately hesitated. There may have been several ways to dodge the question, but all of them would have required some quick wits. Shannon, who hesitated when hard-pressed for a response, was always suffering because of this small weakness. If only Shannon had a little of craftiness needed to cleverly shake off a mistake like Koda, her life would have been a bit easier. The fact that she could perform other tasks flawlessly made this weakness even more unfortunate. However, there were some who understood Shannon's honest nature, her inability to gloss over a mistake and draw attention away from it. That was why Kumasawa had smoothly come to her rescue.
さっき源氏さんが午後のシフトに変更があるとおっしゃってましたよ。確かシャノンさんは夕方までお休みがもらえたと思いました。羨ましい。
すみません。シフト表を確認していませんでした。
そうそう。オーブンでこれからちょっとサバを焼こうと思ってるんですよ。できたらお休みの前にちょっと手伝ってくれると嬉しいですね。はい、
喜んでお手伝いさせていただきます。
To Shannon, Kumasawa was like a mother among the servants. Yes, yes, hell yeah, she's a good woman. I knew I could put her in the favorite list. The dining hall needed to be cleaned up, so we were chased out. Instead, tea was being served in the parlor. Apparently, they prepared the black tea that Aunt Rosa had brought for Aunt Natsuhi. Maria said she also wanted to have some black tea, but my old bastard said she couldn't and told us children to go play outside.
バトラ君、みんなで表に散歩に行かないかい？
バラでも見に行ったらええ。でも天気には十分注意するんやで。空はまだ明るいが、天気予報はふるふると繰り返しちょる。
マリアは海がいい、海がいい。
あら素敵じゃない。砂浜で遊ぶなんて普段はなかなかできないものね。
そっか。よし、じゃあみんなで浜辺でも行こうぜ。行こう。マリア、服を濡らさないようにするのよ。靴もよ。濡らさ
ない。素直で可愛い。バトラ君、マリアちゃんの面倒ちゃんと見てあげてね。
おうよ、任せろ。
I won't trust Battler.
おう、お前もキリエに頼まれると素直で可愛いじゃねえか。たまには俺の言うことも素直に聞いてみろよ。
まっぴらごめんだぜ。行こうぜみんな。ほらほら。
The children flew out of the parlor. They were replaced by Genji, by the cardboard cutout, who pushed the serving cart in and prepared to serve tea. The parlor was filled with sublime aroma, which delighted everyone while they waited to sate their thirst. Oh, I expected him to be like, ha 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 ha, and then pause. Ha.
ルドルフのところは家族仲がいいじゃないか。良いことだ。
よせよ。兄貴のところには負けるぜ。
そうよ、ジェシカちゃん。本当に可愛らしく育ったじゃない。これも夏日姉さんの教育の賜物ね。
どうも。
Natsuki answered coldly. The conversation broke off then, and the parlor fell silent. Maybe Hideyoshi couldn't bear the silence, because he broke it himself with another exaggerated gesture. Jessica's like Mion in a way. Yeah, she is! Jessica does remind me a little bit of Mion, just that Mion is more responsible of her family position. Or at least she tries to be. Jessica to me feels like she wants to be a little bit more free because as we can see, the Shiromiya family is pretty difficult.
いつまでも子供だと思っとったが、図体はみるみるでかくなり、いつの間にか大人の仲間入りや。バトラ君なんか見違えたで。
体は大きくなりましたけど、まだ子供です。うちの主人も未だに子供ですけれど。
子供と大人の境ってどこなのかしらね。私、未だに大人になったって自覚が持てない。
Oh, TBH, I feel that.
情けないじゃないか。一児の母の言うことではない。
そうね。私たちももう子供じゃない。大人同士よ。だから感情的にならず、知的な会話をしたいわね。
Oh no. The passive-aggressive roasting has begun. When Emma smiled with sharp sarcasm, everyone seemed to get more tense. It felt as though that pleasant tea aroma had been tossed out the window.
知的な会話なら昔からいつも心がけているじゃないか。
Oh boy.
お前の嫌味は時に的を外している。昔から変わらない。
Oh, here we go. We're gonna start roasting each other.
昔からいつもですって？あらあら。その言葉をきれいに放送して、何十年か前のこの部屋に届けてあげたいわね。ねえ、ローザ。
Oh boy. Rosa gave a vague smile. She knew that, whether she agreed or disagreed, she'd earned the displeasure of one of her siblings. It was a bit worldly wisdom that had been essential for someone growing up as the youngest sibling.
よせよ、姉貴。ガキどもがいない間に本題に入ろうじゃねえか。それこそ知的な話よ。
Oh, I think I remember something like that in the old anime when the kids are out everywhere. They're like, let's talk about finances. As Rudolph glanced over the face of all present, some let out a slight sigh, and some let a small look of resignation cross their face. They were approaching their unavoidable true agenda. Bum bum
去年
bum.
の時点で余命3ヶ月だったんだ。ってことは、すでにマイナス9ヶ月ってことじゃねえか。いつお迎えが慌ててすっ飛んでくるかもわからねえ状態ってことだぜ。
当主様は今でも健在でおられます。このような不穏当な話を日も明るいうちからなさろうとするなど、ルドルフさんの正気を疑わざるを得ません。
They just want to be rid of him, I guess.
だがな、夏日さん。こういうしょっぱい話はいざことがあってからじゃ遅いんや。今が元気だからこそ余裕あるうちにしとくもんなんやで。これも財産のエチケットみたいなもんや。
諸君の関心は親父殿のようじゃないか。
Music also got very tense. I don't remember hearing this before.
南條先生、あなたから説明してくださいませんか。彼らもそれをお望みらしい。
Nanjo, who had been standing by the window and staring out the rose garden, let out a single cough when he realized that he was being called.
南條先生、お父様の具合はどんな感じなんですか？
まずはじめに、私が去年申し上げました
余命3ヶ月という言葉が一人歩きをしているようですので。
言われずともわかるわ。余命というのはあくまでも見込みであって約束ではないとおっしゃられるのよね。
さようです。ですから皆さんからたびたびお尋ねを受けますが、いつ亡くなるのかということは決して断言できないこと。人の命は体と心に支えられております。体が弱れば危うくもなりますが、それを補う心の強さがあれば小康状態を維持することもあるのです。
The old man just refuses to die because of Beatrice. Just man too angry to die.
体はともかくお心はまだしっかりしていて意気健康でいらっしゃれる
Very much so.
キリエ、すまんがしばらく黙っててくれ。
What?
ごめんなさい。
さようです。金蔵さんの体はすっかり病魔に蝕まれております。ましてやあのような強いお酒をたしなまれ続けてはとてもとても。
崖っぷちなのも酒のせい、ながらえてるのも酒のせいか。酒豪の親父らしいね。
それで先生、もちろん見込みで結構なんですけども、お父様来年の今日まではさすがにどうかしら。
当主様に対してあまりに無礼な質問です。
Natsuhi jumped on Eva, not even bothering to hide her astonished expression. Eva stared back daringly, but Hideyoshi realized what was going on and tried to smooth things over with a forced smile.
あ、夏井さん、カニーナ。エヴァ、お前も少し言葉を選ばんか。
ごめんなさい。お父様の容体が気になって仕方なかったもので。
そうですか。それは気づきませんでした。
南條先生、聞かせてやってください。父親の寿命を気遣う娘の麗しい家族愛じゃないですか。
Krause laughed sarcastically, and Eva, smiling sweetly, returned an identical chuckle.
来年までお元気かという質問ですが、医者の私としてはとても難しい。
It's like they're trying to say, "Dang it, old man, when is he finally going to die?"
この小康状態がまだしばらくは続くようにも思いますし、何らかの発作が来ればその時にはどうしようもないかもしれません。何しろ六軒島は孤島です。すぐに救急車が飛んでこれるわけではありません。本来ならば本土のしかるべき大病院に入院していただきたいところなのですが。
The man is too busy to die. Yeah, too busy and too angry. And too drunk.
去年無理に連れ出そうとしたのがあだになったらしい。外へ出れば病院に閉じ込められてしまうのではないかとひどくお疑いになられていてな。すっかりこのざまなのだよ。
南條先生の診察は受けておられるの？
親父殿は南條先生には心を許しておられる。機嫌が良ければ診察も受けられるようだが、容体を見はするが、薬を勧めようとも入院を勧めようとも聞き入れてくれ。本当に見るだけですがな。
お医者嫌いの方もおるもんや。しかし困ったもんだのう。
Yeah, it's a hassle. Nanjo sighed deeply. The purpose of an examination is to determine what medical treatment will be appropriate. Receiving an examination and then not following the advice given makes the whole thing pointless.
つまりおさらいすると、相変わらず余命は3ヶ月。瀕死のまま、あとどれだけ長らえるか見当もつかねえってことだ。
ルドルフさん、言葉を少し慎まれてはいかがですか？
ああ、すまんね。昔からこういう口の聞き方なんだ。勘弁してくれ。
南條先生のご意見は分かりました。クラウス兄さんから見てどうなの？
実を言うと南條先生とは異なる意見でね、とても余命3ヶ月の重病人とは思えないというのが本心だ。怒鳴り声は相変わらず健在で、いつぶん殴られるかとヒヤヒヤしっぱなしだよ。長男にだけ親父の世話を押し付けるのは実にフェアではないね。
来世では俺より後に生まれろよ。さて、話を戻そうぜ。そんなわけで、公正中立なお医者の先生の見解じゃ、いつお隠れになっちまってもおかしくない状態だ。兄貴には悪いが、ここは専門家の意見を採用させてもらうぜ。となりゃ、決して親父の財産を話し合うことは、時期尚早ではないってことさ。
It's time to talk about the fortune!
お父様の個人資産は、おそらく数百億にも届くでしょうね。でもそれは、綺麗な現金で揃ってるわけじゃないわ。お誕生会のケーキみたいに、綺麗にナイフが入ってカットできるほど単純じゃないでしょ？
姉貴の例えは面白いな。そうさ。ケーキの上には、イチゴやらチョコの家やらが乗ってて、綺麗に等分するのが難しいことだってあるだろう。それを加味して、どういう風にナイフを入れるのか、先に相談しておくのは大切なことだと思うぜ。
それを当主様が存命のうちからさも他界なされたかのように声高に議論される皆さんの気が知れません。
I think it's funny that Kinzo has the gold kanji in it. I think Butler talked about it before. It's pretty interesting, yeah.
あら、必要な話よ。だって遺産相続はその時点で直ちに行われなきゃならないものよ。ましてや栄光ある後宮家の財産は莫大。事前に入念な相談が必要なことはお分かりでしょうが、当家の資産はあなたのご実家とは大違いなんだから。
失礼な。
That's a lot of roasting.
私の実家は関係ありません。
Natsu responded indignantly, though in a low voice, and the already dark atmosphere grew even more hostile.
予算買えば、夏日さん、堪忍な。口が悪いのは許したってな。
Hideyoshi tried to smooth things over by glancing at both with a forced smile, but only resulting in making the hostility between Eva and Natsu even more intense.
これ以上は。
Oh my god, what are you doing up there in the chandelier? Get down!
失礼させていただきます。
He's really up there! Nanjo rose from his seat and went straight up to the chandelier and exited the parlor. To an outsider, it may have seemed like a normal act of courtesy, but his back was watched by several glances envious of his ability to escape. Asserting dominance, yes. After the doctor had exited and his footstep had disappeared into the distance, Krauser crossed his legs.
つまり、お前たちの言い分はこうかね。親父殿の余命は短い。遺産分配について早急かつ具体的な協議に入りたい。何を焦っているのかね。確かにお前たちの言う通り、後宮家の財産を算定し分配するのは簡単なことではなれば、じっくりと算定すべきじゃないのかね。お前たちは今晩のうちにもケーキを切り分けたいと焦っているように見える。そうだろう、ローザ。何を焦ることがあるのかね。
焦ってるわけじゃない。でも兄弟の間での取り決めは必要。それはいつでもいいことだけれども、お父様の具合が悪くなっていて、先に話だけしておいても、それは請求とは言わないと思うし。
Rosa shot a glance at Eva and Rudolph. As the youngest siblings in the family, it was hard for her to be cross-examined by the eldest.
ほう、それはお前の本心かね。兄弟で一番素直で綺麗な心を持っていたお前がそんなことを言い出すとは思えんね。そこの二人に吹き込まれたんじゃないのかね。
よせよ兄貴、ローザだって兄弟だぜ。親父の遺産に公平な権利がある。関心を持つのは当然じゃねえか。親父だっていつかは必ず死ぬし、それは遠い未来の話でもない。むしろ兄貴が悠長すぎるくらいさ。 まるで遺産分配から話をそらしたくて仕方がないように見えるぜ。
それはどういう意味ですか？主人にやましいところがあるとおっしゃいたいのですか？
Yes.
まあ、夏日さん。話は聞いておくなれ。
兄さん、今は大変強気だそうじゃない？そうよね。去年以降、空前の好景気で円は上がる一方。ドルが100円に至るのだって夢物語じゃなさそうよ。
It became like that, didn't it? That $1 is approximately 100 yen.
それに、与党は来年頃に
I only know roughly the currency exchange between euro and yen because I import a lot of merch from Japan, so I kind of looked into currency exchange between euro and yen, so that's approximately correct. It's like approximately 1 euro and 50 cents for like 100 yen, but in dollar I think it's approximately $1.
詳しいじゃないか。これから日本には空前の好景気が訪れる。親父殿が後ろ宮家を再興した時と同じくらいの大規模な需要拡大の時代がね。日本国民は死に物狂いで働き、高度経済成長を実現して世界で一番豊かな国民となる。国民の消費は増大し、それを回収できる施設があぶく銭を手にする時代になったのだよ。
You mean like Amazon?
今や国民のニーズは3種の電化製品ではない。スキー場、ゴルフ場、総合プール、リゾートホテルにテーマパーク。数年前に開業したデルゼン
I love it.
素晴らしい遊園地じゃないか。
Oh my god.
あそこでは大人も童心に帰り
Disneyland, I love it. I'm gonna start calling Disneyland the same.
かつて家族を顧みずに滅私奉公することだけが美徳だった時代はもはや終わろうとしている。我々は世界で一番豊かな国民として
Down that God, I can't think of any name for what would be Mickey Mouse's name be in Umineko?
クラウス兄さんの読みは大したもんや。
Mekel Moose? Mekel Mice?
わしも数年前に聞いたときはそんなアホなと思ったわ。でもな、G5 のプラザ合意聞いてから変わったんや。
Milky Mouse! Jesus wept. Sorry about that. I know the conversation in here is very serious, but the Disneyland just killed me.
円はみるみる強くなり、地価はこれから天井知らずに上がるやろ。日本が世界経済の中心になる日も遠くはない。兄さんは時代を見る目のあるお人や。それだけは間違いないで。
秀吉兄さんに同じだ。兄貴は10年越しで時代を読めてるよ。その嗅覚は親父譲りだろうな。大したもんだぜ。だが親父と違ってちょいと見通しのタイミングを読み違っちまったところはあるよな。
兄さんは必ず日本が好景気を迎えると信じてあちこちにリゾート計画を起こし、そのほとんどで失敗し続けたわ。
Hey Rudolph, big tip, invest in video
兄
games.
さんの読み通りの時代は確かに訪
I
れつつ
promise
あ
it
る
will pay off.
その時期を読むことには失敗したわね。早すぎたのよ。そして焦って生産して結局は傷口を広げたわ。本当に嗅覚が当てになって好景気が訪れることを読めていたなら生産するわけない。
Damn. Rudolph tries to criticize Eva's husband and she's immediately like clawing into him, just ending him.
これって兄さんが自分で自分の才能を信じてない証拠じゃないの？
失礼な。主人を侮辱するつもりですか？
Natsu's forehead creased as she rose from the sofa. Eva, paying the snow heat, stared at Kraus with an unconfident smile. Kraus, who also maintained his confident appearance, told Natsu to sit down.
よさないか、夏日。昔からこういう言い方しかできないやつだ。少し落ち着きなさい。また頭痛に触る。
兄さんに才能がない証拠は私たちのすぐ近くにもあるわよ。だって兄さん、この島をリゾート化するって張り切ってたじゃない？
Oh boy.
素敵なリゾートホテルも建てて、庭園もきれいに整備して、私は素人だから分かりかねるけど、相当のお金を使ったんでしょ？
Rich people yelling at, roasting each other about money.
というのですか？主人の事業はあなたとは関係ありません。
いや、そいつは違うぜ、夏日さん。六軒島は兄貴のものじゃない。親父のものだ。もちろん建てたホテルは兄貴のものだぜ。なんなら、俺たちは今夜の宿泊料を払ってやってもいいさ。な、ローザ。
それはまあ。
Oh, she doesn't have much money?
持ち合わせで足りるなら。
リゾート化できればこの島の資産価値は上がる。支出がかさんだことは事実だが、未来に大きな収穫を期待できる。そうなれば、結果的にお前たちにとっても有益なはずじゃないか。
それはわかるわよ。この島の価値が上がれば、それを遺産分配する時の私たちの取り分も増えるもの。もちろん、島や屋敷を4分の1ずつ切り取れとは言わないわ。それを算定したお金で解決してくれればいいだけの話よ。
そこまで分かっているなら、私の事業に何の不満があるんだね。
不満じゃねえさ。不安なのさ。第一兄貴、あのホテル、いつになったら開業するんだ？
Probably after Kinzo dies.
俺たちの手垢だらけになっちまうぜ。
そうよ。大切な商売道具でしょ。確かに開業するまでずっと鍵をかけておくわけにもいかないわよね。少しは使って風通しを良くしないと建物は傷んじゃうもの。
Yes, in German it's called Schimmel.
でも、私たちが年に一度泊まるだけのゲストハウスって言うんじゃ、ちょっと合成すぎやしないかしら。ねえ、ローザ。
そうね。あんなに素敵なら、オープンしたらさぞや人気が出るでしょうね。
ああ、あなたが前に言ってたホテルってゲストハウスのことだったのね。
立派なもんだろう。ローザの言う通り、オープンできたら人気が出るだろうよ。
The lodging they had been guided to wasn't originally intended to serve as a guest house. It was originally constructed as a resort hotel. However, even though it was built 2 years previously, there was still absolutely no prospect of it opening.
兄さんのいつもの事業と同じよ。着目や企画はご立派。そしていつも途中で立ち行かなくなって何も回収できずに終わる。
この島を
Jesus, Eva is just glowing at everyone.
兄貴の着眼は立派さ。そしてリゾート化してマリンスポーツやらフィッシングやらハネムーンやらを誘致して盛り上げようってのはなかなかいい絵だったと思うぜ。俺だって長男だったならこの島を何かに有効利用できないかと頭をひねったに違いないさ。
でももう出来上がってから
Money this, money
2
that.
年も経つのよ。2年経って未だに開業のめどはつかないの？
Because Kinzo won't die.
会社はどこ？
失敬な。それは主人の手落ちではありません。主人の仕事を請け負う会社間でトラブルが生じているだけで、うちはあくまでも被害者です。
しかしな、クラウス兄さんが任せてる例のとこ。
Oh.
あまり噂は聞かんで。
はっきり言ってあげなさいよ。不払い横領トラブルで計画が空中分解しちゃったって話。私たちの耳に届かないとでも思ってる？裏も取れてるんだから。
Oh my god, she's gonna pull up the receipts.
事実無根です。 観光業への新規参入には方々への根回しが必要になります。相手が信用に足りるかを測ることも大事です。それに手間取っているだけに過ぎません。
ホテルの完成が早すぎて勇み足になったことは認めよう。だが維持費がかかってるわけじゃない。やがて大きな意味を持つ布石だ。
嘘つけよ。生産したくても売れないだけだろ。観光ルートの確立してない何もない離島にやたら豪華なホテルなんて買い手がつくわけもねえさ。
He does have a
それに
point.
事業に集めた融資はどうなってんだよ。
維持費はかからんでも返せん借金は膨らむ一方や。
Oh, he took out a
すま
loan.
んがクラウス、この島の開発計画の話ちょいと調べさせてもろたんや。正直こっちもええ話は聞かへんのや。
秀吉さん、確かに今の財政状況だけを見たらそういう印象を持たれるかもしれない。だがこれは先行投資なのだよ。その読みを誤り、これまでに多くの負債を生んでしまったことは認めざるを得ない。だがようやく時代が私に追いついた。これまでに失った分はすぐに取り戻せる。いや、それどころかこれまでの投資だってやがては私のもとに戻ってくる。そう例えるなら、放った稚魚が鮭となり肥えて帰ってくるようにね。
Okay.
それは認めるで。これからリゾート業界は空前の好景気を迎えるやろ。これまでの負債を埋められるほどかはわからんが。だがな、クラウス兄さん、これまで散々負け続けた兄さんがどこから軍資金を調達したっていうんや。
Yeah.
それも半端ない軍資金や。あれだけの穴を埋められる軍資金やで。
秀吉さんは何をおっしゃいたいのですか？
He's trying to say you guys will be broke and bankrupt.
ああ、夏樹さん、ほんま怒らんといてえな。わしらも調べたんや。これまで負け戦続きのクラウス兄さんに最近の強気な莫大投資を支えられるほどの融資を誰ができたんか。
結果、
Yes.
いねえんだよ。
Oh.
弱り目と逆に張るのがマネールーレットの鉄則だ。兄貴はこの界隈じゃちょいと知られた弱り目さ。確かに時代は好景気を迎えようとしているが、これまでの兄貴の失敗等を天秤にかけて、
There was
そ
no
の
one.
上で融資に値すると思う連中がいるのかって言ったら誰もいなかったのさ。
ならね、そのお金を
Where did you get that
ことに
money?
なるのよ。
ほう、
Ho ho.
興味深い話じゃないか。それで
And?
あなた、このような暴言をいつまで放置されるつもりですか？
座れよ、夏日さん。担当直入に言おう。兄貴は親父の個人資産を自分の事業に流用してる。
Sounds like it,
これは
yeah.
ほぼ間違いねえ。これが俺たちの誤解だってんなら、どうかぜひそれを解いてもらいたいもんさ。
ルドルフ、流用なんてもんじゃないわよ。これは横領よ。刑事告発できる立派な犯罪なんだから。
無礼極まりない。仮にも後宮本家跡継ぎの後宮クラウスに向かって信じられない暴言です。
Oh boy.
暴言じゃないわよ。図星でしょ。なんとか事業を成功させてこれまでの損失を埋めたいんだけど、その穴は広がっていく一方、博打の穴をさらに大きく張った博打で埋めたいだけよ。
Also, that's what Kinzo meant with Kraus gives in 2 coins to get back 1.
その軍資金がすぐ近くにあったなら手をつけるのは道理。はっきり言うわ。兄さんがしているのは横領よ。お父様に対する裏切りよ。しかるべき決着がついた後には司法に委ねることになるでしょうね。
Jeez, she just wants to destroy
そん
him.
な輩に後宮本家跡継ぎを名乗らせると思い？
言うにこと書いて、当主様への裏切りとは聞き捨てがたい。 この栄光ある後宮家の敷居をまたぐ資格はもはやあなたにはありません。
Oh boy.
即刻ここを出て行きなさい。さあ、ほら。
Natsuki, who had already reached the limit of her anger, shouted at Eva in rage. She then pointed alternatively at Eva in the hallway, demanding that she leave. Eva took out the folding fan and fanned herself with it, glaring maliciously at Natsuki as though silently daring her to repeat what she'd said. However, her mouth was still smiling, curved in the shape of a crescent moon. Oh, so like a slasher smile? In that unpleasant silence, Rosa gulped.
ねえ、夏日姉さん。
Uh-oh, Natsuki is about to get roasted to the absolute ground.
誰に向かってそんな口をお聞きなの？
無礼極まりない主人の妹に対してです。これ以上は私も本家の台所を預かる者として聞き捨てなりません。
台所を預かる？
Uh-oh. Oh my god. Ooh, we had a CG! Did she slap her? Eva folded the fan with a snap and rose to her feet energically. I really like the CG, it looks amazing. Compared to the elegance of the playfulness she'd shown until a second ago, she was now unimaginably aggressive.
この後ろ宮エヴァに当主様の左肩を許されている後ろ宮家序列第3位のこのエヴァに下がれと。
Yes.
身の程を知りなさい。そしてお前のそのみすぼらしい姿を鏡に映してみるがいい。お前の服のどこに翼が？どこに片翼のわしが許されているのか。
Oh, ooh, shit.
様など後ろ宮家の跡継ぎを残すためだけの存在じゃないの。
Holy shit, Eva.
身の程をわきまえるがいい。このゲス女が。
Yo. Oh my god. Eva just went in. Ah, fuck. Wait. Eva's face twisted hideously as words gouged into Natsuki's heart like talons wrenching at it. There were 100 ways Natsuki wanted to respond. However, her anger and sorrow crushed her throat, and none of those words managed to make it to her mouth. Her anger had nowhere to go, and became a single hot tear that slowly dripped down. Oh my god, Eva made her cry!
何か言い返したいならどうぞ言い返しなさいよ。ほーら。
Eva faced her with a provocative gaze. However, Natsuki could do nothing but tremble, her clenched fist quivering. I'm pretty sure Natsuki wants to slap the shit out of her, but probably isn't because she can't. Kraus quietly broke that powder keg tension. Is he gonna roast her next?
Natsuki, 席を外しなさい。頭を冷やすといい。
Natsuki, resenting the fact that her husband had not come to her aid, shifted the focus of her attack. Oh man! Kraus, you suck! Defend your wife!
あなたはさっきから何を言われているのか分かってるんですか？この人たちは言うにこと書いてあなたのことをお父様への裏切り者呼ばわりしているんです。私たちが後宮家の栄光を守り、お父様からそれを受け継ぐため日々高潔であろうとする全ての努力をないがしろにして踏みにじる。あなたもあなたです。どうして言い返さないんですか？あなたが言い返さないから私が言い返しているのに、さっきからあなたは私に任せっきりで、その私に頭を冷やして来いなんて言うんですか？いつも私ばかり。
You tell him, babe.
私は
Why did you say babe?
この家のことを考えているのに、それはあなたは。
Natsuki was already unable to hide her tears. She flew from the room in that state. Jeez. After that, all the remaining was a somewhat embarrassed mood about the parlor. When the sound of footsteps grew distant and silence returned, Kraus shrugged his shoulders lightly. Jeez, you suck. You didn't even defend her. Wow. If Jessica was in this room, she would have like broken Eva's jaw, I think.
あんなのに切り盛りされてたんじゃ。兄さんも気苦労が絶えないわね。
Damn, that was rough.
奥様。
何でもあります。下がりなさい。
Natsuki flew into her room and threw herself onto her bed, lamenting. Those heart-wrenching sobs reached Kumasawa in the hallway. The voice acting really is good. Oh my gosh.
奥様とエヴァ様は犬猿の仲。このお二人の関係を説明するのは、女の私にはとてもしんどくございます。後ろ目焼きは血を特に重んじられますが、嫁いで家を出れば、本来は序列から除籍されます。ですから、エヴァ様も本来は秀吉様とのご成婚の際に除籍されるはずだったのです。
Okay, so how are they supposed to marry?
ところが、これは誰のせいでもありません。ましてや、奥様のせいであろうはずもありません。神様の気まぐれとしか言いようがありません。クラウス様と夏日様にはなかなか子宝が授からなかったのです。何しろ男尊女卑の後ろ宮家でございます。妻は後継ぎを残すための道具。その妻が唯一の役割を果たせないのなら、もはや人間扱いなどされません。
That's a big ouch.
当時の奥様が親方様からどれほど責め苛まれていたか思い出すのも苦しゅうございます。
Oh god, I don't even want to remember. I don't even want to know what that entails.
そんな中、エヴァ様に秀吉様とのご結婚の話が持ち上がりました。エヴァ様は狡猾でした。奥様がいつまでも身ごもられないことにつけ入って親方様に取り入ったのです。入り婿を取って自分が跡継ぎを産むと吹き込み、ご自分の席を後ろ宮家にとどまらせるよう認めさせたのでございます。後ろ宮家に嫁ぎ、戸様扱いの奥様と入り婿を取る形で血族として残ったエヴァ様は、後ろ宮家の序列の中では雲泥の差。しかもエヴァ様は先にそれも男児をご出産されております。どれほど奥様の立場がエヴァ様の前で弱いものであったか、お察しいただけますでしょうか。奥様にとっては、もし自分がすぐに解任することができれば、エヴァ様の入り婿など親方様に認めさせずに済み、今日のエヴァ様の増長を許さずに済んだだろうという悔しい気持ちがあるに違いありません。
Oh, so that's an unfortunate circumstance.
しかし、それは奥様のせいであろうはずもない。すべては気まぐれな神様とジェシカさんをお届けすることが遅れたコウノトリのせいなのでございます。だからといって奥様にはそうと割り切れるはずもない。
I'm pretty sure everyone else in the family won't let things be seen that way.
妻としての責務を全うできなかったことに、女として悔し涙をこぼすしかできないでしょう。はあ、老いたわしや。私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
Oh? What time is it now? Or did we just go back? Oh? We cross the hall again on our way to the entrance. Oh, I think we're going now to the kids in the meantime. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. However, spotted is probably not the best word to describe that experience. It was more like our eyes were inexorably drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with their sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who viewed it stand rooted to the spot. Seemed Battler is rooted already? Ah, sorry. I skipped again on accident. Back when he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him had been Maria. Therefore, when Battler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt that Battler didn't have faith in her. Of course, that wasn't what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on a plate hanging below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove that she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate. Beatrice! ？This is the much needed lighter content after that really tense discussion. When he patted Maria's head and apologized, he seemed to accept it, sticking out her chest and proudly oohing.
何我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェ懐かしき故郷を貫くってなんだこの怪しげな長い碑文はよ
I don't know, man, you tell me. The plate did have the title of the portrait written on it, but it was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title was what appeared to be a long epitaph. If you just skimmed over it, several unnerving words would jump out at you. Sorry. Oh, the hidden gold. Now I remember this. I remember it being mentioned, but I don't remember what it plays in the plot. Oh, we have a new George Bride.
この碑文に関しては何も語ってくれないんだ。でも親類たちの間ではおじい様の黄金の隠し場所を記したもので、この謎を解いた者に家督と黄金のすべてを譲るという意味ではないかと。
Right. Okay, now I remember.
さてな、10トンの金塊なんてね。私はちょいと眉唾だけどな。
しかしよ、こんな碑文を読んじまうとマジかなって気になっちまうな。
I think I already explained grandfather's upbringing. Yes, you have. But let me also mention the Ushinomiya family's legend of the gold. Finally, the juicy details. Grandfather succeeded the Ushinomiya family after it was destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake. And by successfully ridding the stormy seas after the war, he managed to accumulate great wealth. That much of the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part begins. Part of it involves grandfather's black magic obsession, so its credibility is extremely low, but, well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it. After the war, grandfather correctly predicted what the future would hold and won in a huge gamble, accumulating a vast store of wealth. But there's a mysterious legend about how he gained his initial funding. Grandfather came from a branch family and had no connections in the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, he supposedly started as a nameless person who hadn't yet gained anyone's trust. It takes trust to gather money. There's no way anyone will lend money to someone they didn't trust. Yes. Lesson number 1, do not lend money to people you do not trust. How did grandfather, who had reputation at all, manage to obtain his first vast chunk of funds? When asked that question, grandfather supposedly answered like this. On a certain day, I encountered the golden witch Beatrice. Grandfather then went on and on about his continuing research into alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great magician. And the entity summoned as a result of demon calling ceremony was the Golden Witch Beatrice. He then apparently made a contract by which he would receive fortune and honor in exchange of his own soul. The witch then granted Grandfather 10 tons of gold. Grandfather used his gold as collateral to prepare a vast quantity of funds, which he then used to multiply his wealth many times over and revive the Oshiromiya family. It seems the story is so old that even our parents were told it when they were still children. So back when our parents were young, they explored this island in a sort of ways, believing that the gold Grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was a danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, Grandmother began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was forbidden.
そんな話があったな。俺たちも小さい頃、親からその話を聞かされて、宝探しと称して島中はあちこちうろうろして、森で迷ってワンワン泣いて、しお兄さんに見つけてもらって、親にめちゃくちゃ怒られたんじゃなかったっけ？懐かしいぜ。
That sounds nice. Getting lost in the forest, trying to find treasure, waiting for a witch to pop up.
バカだったよな。だってよ、じいさまはその資本金で儲けた挙句でこの島を買うんだぜ。この島に来る前から黄金を持ってたってことになるじゃねえか。この島にあるわけがないぜ。
そうとも限らないよ。その黄金が元からこの島に隠されていて、それを確実に自分のものにするためにこの島を丸々買い取ったとかね。何しろ10トンもあるんだもん。安全な場所に移すより隠し場所そのものを確保する方が現実的だよ。
この碑文を書かせたのは2年前。それもじいさま自身ってなると、なるほど。黄金伝説も信憑性が、じいさまが後ろ宮家復興の資本金にしたという魔女に授けられた黄金が10トン。
That sounds like
そ
a
いつが
lot
ど
of
っかに今も眠ってい
money.
て、じいさまはこの謎を解けたやつに全部を譲ろうって、そういう、じいさまらしいセンスというか、なんとマジならなんとも景気のいい話だぜ。
The epitaph carved into the plate was very mysterious, with something like a poem or a song written on it. The text was sterile, incredibly disturbing, filled with the signs of Grandfather's black magic hobby, and its contents were in truly bad taste. But it could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, might lead to the hidden gold.
そういうつもりなのかどうか、おじいさまの胸中は想像もつかないけどね。一つ言えるのは、このうさんくさい碑文をおじいさまは一族全員に告示するかのようにここに掲示したこと。そして黄金の存在はほのめかしながらも、未だにその隠し場所について一切触れないこと。そこから親たちが想像を膨らませて、おじいさまの知恵比べに違いないって言い出した。
欲の皮が突っ張ってるうちの親父あたりだろうぜ。じいさまの黒魔術趣味はバカにしてるくせに、この隠し黄金の話だけは信じてやがる。調子のいい話さ。
確かに現実的な話じゃないよね。
Hmm.
当時無名で何のコネクションもなかったおじいさまに無償で莫大な金塊を融資する人物なんているわけがない。
Yeah.
それがいたからこそ、
Unless you are a witch,
おじいさまはそのスポンサーを
you can just be like, here's 10 tons of gold.
考えられない話じゃないけど。
でもよ、10トンだぜ、10トン。一体現金に直したらいくらくらいになるんだ？
I would assume it will count up to like a trillion or a billion.
とんでもない量だよ。人類が有史以来発掘した黄金はせいぜい10万トンって言われてる。人類の歴史が手にした黄金の1万分の1を個人が手にしてるっていうのはとてつもないことだよ。
Damn.
それが一箇所にあり、しかもそれをおじいさまにポンと貸し出せるような魔女。ただものじゃないね。
私はよ、その10トンって数字ももはや嘘くさいと思ってるぜ。第一よ、じいさま以外に見たやつはいないんだろ。仮に気前のいい魔女が実在して黄金を貸したとしても、 それは10は10でも10キロぐらいの間違いじゃねえのか？ 10 キロでも相当いい金額になるはずだぜ。
おー、10キロの黄金っていくら？
Maria, who wasn't following the story and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask us a question. It was a question I also wanted answered right then. Whether it was 10 kilograms or 10 tons, it felt like a huge amount, but I had no idea exactly how huge. George Aniki folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold.
さあ、金も相場の影響を受けるから何とも言えないし、純度や鋳造先の信用によっても変わってくる。換金に手数料もかかるし。ただ、希少金属であることは間違いなくて、このまま採掘が進めば、人類はあと半世紀ほどで全てを掘り尽くしてしまうんじゃないかって憶測もある。デタラメに言って、1キロあたり200万円程度の価値はあるんじゃないかと思うね。
2 million yen per kilogram? That's gonna be like a billion something.
私よ、10キロってのは今適当に言った控えめな数字なんだけどよ。それでも2000万円の価値があるってことになるじゃねえかよ。
マリア、体重28キロ。
ということは、マリアちゃんと同じ重さの黄金なら、その価値は5000万円を超えるって計算になるね。
Yes, she's worth it.
そりゃたまげるな。10トンならいくらだ？ 10 キロで2000万が1000倍だから、
Yeah, I'm bad at math.
200億円か
？20 billion! Jesus!
こりゃたまらねえや。
A lot? You grow up and work like... Ah, crap. Sorry, I skipped the text again because I was so floored by the amount of money that I was like, what? And it just went going. Okay, sorry. How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? We can only measure it in relative to our own pocketbooks. Anyway, let's say that a person's wages over a lifetime are about 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for a company, and you're finally freed as you approach old age. Yeah, sounds like capitalism. Everything, including retirement money, might add up to about 200 million yen. In other words, that's the amount of money that will be made throughout the human's life. No, you could even call it a value of life. So 100 times that sum is an unbelievable amount of money. If you work from age 20 to age 60, that's 40 years of work. So it's equal to 4,000 years of work wages. Jeez! If you worked every day starting from Jomon period, you'd only reach that number about now. Yes, Maria, it is a lot.
ああ、すげえよ。マリアの大好きなショートケーキだったら、多分一生かかっても食い切れないくらい買えるぜ。
でも、200億円という現金ならいざ知れず、それと同等の金塊が一ところにあるなんて、とても現実的とは思えないね。
Yeah, technically you should use a bank.
さっきも言った通り、黄金は非常に重くて、財産をまとめておくにはちょっと便利とは思えないよ。ものすごい額面の有価証券とか、ものすごく価値のある宝石とか、そういうものなら考えられなくもないけれど、戦時中の混乱期に自分の資産を持ち運べるよう、すべて宝石などに変えた人たちがいたのは有名な話だからね。でも、黄金で資産を備蓄したというのはなかなか聞かない。
確かに重いけどよ、国際的に一番信用されてて、価値も安定してるし、意味はあるんじゃないのかな。証券とかだったら、国が滅びちまったら紙切れになっちまうわけだし。
そういう考え方もあるね。でも、10kg のインゴット一つでも、体感重量は相当のものだよ。聞いたことない？ 50kg の人間は背負えても、50kg の俵は担げないって。それだけの莫大な重量の金塊を、個人が所有するリスクと手間は計り知れないね。
ってことはつまり、200億円の札束がうなってるって話ならともかく、200億円分の黄金が山積みになってるってのは、ちょいと現実味がないわけだな。
そういうことになるね。黄金伝説なんて響きはとても面白いんだけど、そもそも10トンの黄金という時点で少々無理があるね。
I wonder.
そうやってリズムで考えるとみるみる嘘くさくなっていくぜ。夢のない話さ。
I bet there actually is that much
そこは何
gold.
しろあのおじい様だからね。親切なお金持ちからの融資を大げさに吹聴して魔女から授かった10トンという数字も象徴的な感じがするしね。
つまり借りた金のありがたさは10トンの黄金に匹敵する価値があったってなことだ。
じいさまに大金持ちの勇敢マダムが気前よく恵んでくれて、その後夫人を魔女と呼んだってことじゃねえのか？
I see. Jessica's example isn't bad. Someone who generously lent a huge sum of money to grandfather when they still had no reputation might as well be called a witch. Furthermore, grandfather actually did use that money to build a vast amount of wealth later on. The fact that this person was so great at judging people might also justify calling her a witch. Also, since she went to trouble of lending all that money, she might have enthusiastically overseen how it was spent. The decision to unexpectedly get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have been inspired by the witch herself. That might explain why he claimed to have received both wealth and honor from her.
なるほどな。ってことはつまり、この魔女様は後宮家復興のための資金を恵んでくださった。となりゃ、じい様が感謝の気持ちを込めて、こんだけでかい絵を描かせて掲げさせたってのも、なるほど、おかしい話じゃないのかも。
ひょっとするとよ、当の本人はみんなの魔女っぽいばあさんだったかもしれないぜ。
I want to be an old woman who's actually a
こんな
witch.
美人に描いてくれたってのは考えられる話さ。案外、当の本人に会ってみたら、こんなに美人じゃないかもしれねえな。
Oh, Jessica. If only you knew.
ありえるね。ベアトリーチェって名前はいかにも洋風だけど、僕たち一族の名前がみんなこのベアトリーチェって名前も日本人名を無理やり洋風にアレンジしたものなのかもしれないよ。
Sounds like it.
なるほど、なるほど。この美人は絵の中にしかいないってわけだな。それじゃあの立派そうな胸は揉めそうにないぜ。
Oh, Battler, come on.
鼻っから魔女なんておかしいんだよな。そんなのが地球上のどこにいるってんだ。
I laughed and made fun of the witch, trying to distinguish myself from the kid I was 6 years ago who feared the witch of the forest when Maria tugged on my sleeve. I could tell by how hard she pulled that she was a bit upset.
なんだよ、マリア。
Is Maria gonna destroy? Maria stared up at me. She had her usual sour look, but I could tell she was angry by the color of her eyes. Maria is smart.
なんだよ、そりゃいるだろうよ。テレビをつけりゃアニメとかによ。
Oh my god. If only, Battler. If only. I started getting impatient, not knowing why Maria was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and whispered.
バカだな。子供の夢打ち砕いてんじゃねえぜ。マリアは魔女とかベアトリージェとかが確かに存在するって信じてんだよ。
Yes, let her be.
確かマリアちゃんは学校の文集に将来なりたいものは魔女って書いたんだっけ？
Relatable, same. Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corners of her eyes. Aww! I see. To a girl who wants to become a witch in the future, the existence of Beatrice was proof that witches do exist in this world, and was therefore an image that she yearned after and admired. She bonked.
いるよ、魔女は。お兄ちゃんは信じるよ。
Yes, because George is a good boy. George Aniki kneeled down and hugged Maria's head. Watching this, Jessica poked my side. So that's what it is. It's like shouting that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. Yes. Butler the meanie. Yes. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to shatter kids' dreams. But you just did that!
悪かったぜ。別にマリアの夢にケチをつけたわけじゃねえんだ。謝るよ。ベアトリーチェはいるよな。今もこの島の森の中に住んでいて、夜な夜なこの屋敷で何をやってるのか覗き見しに来るんだろ。
I guess he's kinda not wrong.
森には入っちゃいけない。夜はいつまでも暗い森を眺めていてはいけない。森の魔女ベアトリーチェに見つかってしまうかもしれないから。
After all, grandmother said so.
本当にバトラーは信じる？
おお、信じるぜ。ケチをつけて悪かったよ。ほら、仲直りしようぜ。
Good. I stuck on my hand. Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand and remained a yes, good. Maria didn't grumble any more than that, so George, Annika, and Jessica were relieved. So what are we doing now? Shannon! Yay!
皆様、ここにいらっしゃられたんですか。てっきり海岸へ行かれたとばかり。
Shannon-chan, carrying a basket, was surprised to find us all gathered in front of a portrait.
シャノンか。いやさ、バトラはベアトリーチェの肖像画を初めて見るからさ。まあ、見とれてたってわけだぜ。
そうですね。見とれちゃいますね。ベアトリーチェ様って本当にお綺麗です。さぞや親方様を虜になさったろうと思います。
Yes. She is beautiful. I agree.
パトロン説の他にも、おじい様の初恋の人だという説もあるんだ。
はあ。
どちらにせよ、彼女に出会ってから数十年を経ているだろうにもかかわらず、
I believe
今な
it.
お心の中に大きく居座り続けているんだから、それは今なお虜にしているということなんだろうね。
やれやれ。これじゃ、ばあ様はさぞや嫉妬しただろうぜ。
私はよく知らねえけど、やっぱりそういうのはあったらしいぜ。ばあ様は金髪の浮気相手がいると信じてたらしいな。
Oh?
いい匂い。
She's sniffing Shannon?
シャノンからいい匂い。
Oh my god. Maria sniffing approached the basket Shannon-chan was holding with interest. After hearing that, I noticed a fragrant scent with a touch of vanilla. Oh, that sounds good.
申し訳ございません。
That makes me want to get some snacks. I'm gonna get some snacks. Give me a second.
熊沢さんから
I have my
皆
snacks.
さんにお届けするように
The vanilla did it. Now I just want to eat some muffins.
なんだろう。素敵だね。
Oh no, no, my cat wants my muffins. No!
クッキーだ。
クッキー食べたい。クッキー食べたい。お召し上がりいただけますよ。
Cat, what are you doing? The muffins aren't for you.
でも、その
Would it be appropriate to serve cookies in a place like this in front of the portrait? I guess so. Shannon-chan sent us a glance that seemed to ask what we wanted to do about it. Well, yeah, guess eating here would be bad manners, generally speaking.
マリア、ここじゃなくてよそで食べようぜ。
Yes,
クッ
let's
キ
eat.
ーをお弁当にピクニックに行こう。
Yes.
ピクニック行こう。ピクニック行こう。クッキー食べれるなら行こう。
そうだな。ちょっと表の空気を吸いに行くか。
Yes.
魔女様の御前でつまみ食いもねえもんだぜ。
そうだ。もともと私たちは浜辺に行こうって言ってたんじゃねえか。
Yes, you've been here staring at Beatrice instead. Like the simps you are.
シャノンちゃん、申し訳ないんだけど、 腰を下ろせる敷物と水筒にお茶を入れてきてもらうのをお願いしてもいいかな。
はい、かしこまりました。
Shannon-chan received her instructions and gracefully bowed before retracing her steps. We headed for the beach on our own. Everyone headed to the entrance in a group. Feeling as though that witch was staring down at our backs, I turned around once more.
アトラ、まだ信じてない？
いや、信じるぜ。その方が夢があるしな。黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェがじい様に10トンの黄金を授けた。それで、その黄金がどこかに眠っているかもしれない。しかもそいつを、じい様は怪しげな碑文に書き残し、見つけられるもんなら見つけてみろと俺たちを挑発してるってんじゃねえか。
Yes, let's go treasure hunting.
こういうロマンはあった方がいいってもんさ。
200億円の黄金か。私たち4人で山分けしたってとんでもない金額になるな。
一人頭50億円か。
Oh, that's a lot of money.
すごいね。それだけあったらどんな事業でも起こせそうだよ。
And you're thinking about businesses?
そもそも働かずに生涯を優雅に過ごせるだろうね。
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, George. You are a man of intellect.
50億円よりクッキークッキー。
マリアには金よりクッキーだな。
Yes.
しかし、50億円か。夢のある話さ。
My cat is here trying to steal my snacks. Don't do that. Oh, are we? Oh no, we're back at the tea time. This is bad.
親父殿の黄金伝説を本当に信じているのかね。
魔女が黄金を与えた云々はさすがに信じねえさ。
We're going back to the spicy stuff.
だが黄金の話だけは間違いじゃない。
お父様が出自不明の金塊を持っていたことは複数の筋から確認されているわ。死んだマルソーの会長は生前お父様に某所で積み上げられた金塊を実際に見せられたという。
Eva seems confident.
お父様はそれを指して10トン分あるとはっきり明言したわ。
老いぼれのざれ言じゃないか。親父殿と一緒に存在しない黄金の存在をでっち上げただけだ。取るに足りない。
存在せん黄金にあないな軍資金は集まらへんで。
Yeah.
会長さんは生前その真摯なお人柄であれだけ大勢の財界人から尊敬を集めたお人や。詐欺の片棒なんか担がへん。
兄貴、マルソーの会長は確かに見てんだ。10トンの黄金をはっきりとその目で。しかも親父はそのインゴットの一つを任意で抜き取らせ、それは10キロのインゴットで、鑑定結果は純度49。
99.99% pure. What is the 0.001%?
インゴット表面には後ろ宮家の家紋で
Is
あ
it
る
Beatrice?
片翼の足が刻印されていたという。
後ろ宮の黄金伝説は瞬く間に財界のフィクサーたちの間に広がったわ。鋳造元不明の黄金は換金率が悪い。ボロ儲けのチャンスだと思った彼らはそれを担保に認め、結果お父様は莫大な融資を受けることができた。
バカバカしいにも程があるじゃないか。お前たちはいくつになるんだ。まだそんな子供の頃のおとぎ話を真に受けているのかね。
Seems like it.
だってその10トンの黄金の証拠はどこにあるんだ。
Maybe in the resort hotel you just built.
親父殿と親交の深かったごく一部の人間のざれ言だけじゃないか。
もちろん口伝だけさ。でもよ兄貴、親父が調達した莫大な金はそれに見合う担保が必要だった。仮に黄金がデマでも それに匹敵する価値あるお宝を親父が見せたのは紛れもない事実。
都市空間の親父殿が作った黄金幻想さ。ありもしない黄金をあるかに振る舞い、スポンサーたちを騙したんだ。一世一代の大博打だったのだろう。運よくその資産の運用に成功できた。もし当時の外需拡大がなかったら後宮家の再興はならず、親父殿は正規のペテン師として追われていただろう。
じゃあクラウス兄さんは黄金など最初から存在せず、全てお父さんのでっち上げだ言うんか？
はいやー。Hello。
もちろんさ。だから十分な成功を収めた後には黄金幻想など面倒なだけだった。だから親父殿は魔女だの黒魔術だのとわけのわからないことを後に言い出して信憑性を薄めたのさ。つまり黄金幻想がでっち上げであることを明かしたのだよ。魔女に黄金を授かったなどと言えば、もはや誰も黄金の存在を信じたりはしまい。あるいはお前たちのために言い出したのかもしれないな。なのにありもしない黄金を遺産分配に含めて議論しようというバカな息子たちが現れる。ローザ、まさかお前までこんなでっち上げを信じてるって言うんじゃないだろうな。
私はお父様が本当に黄金を持っていたかどうかを確かめることはできない。でもお父様の4人の子供の一人として正当な分を主張したいだけよ。
ほう、ローザも言うようになったじゃないか。なるほど。お前たちはこう言いたいわけかね。
Boy, this tyrannige dialog is
私が王を独り
tense.
占めしようとしていると。
兄さんが莫大な軍資金を調達したのは事実。それがお父様の個人資産の横領では断じてありえないというなら、つまりはそういうことよ。
兄貴はすでに10トンの金塊を見つけてるんじゃないかって、俺たちはそう見てるのさ。
バカバカしい。そんなものは元より存在しない。
じゃあ説明なさいよ。お父様の財産の横領、お父様の隠し黄金、そのどちらでもないならどうやってあれだけの軍資金を調達できたっていうの？
私にも政界財界に友人が多くいてね。彼らから協力を得ただけに過ぎんよ。それについてお前たちに説明する義務はない。分かっているだろう。話せぬ方面の筋もある。
Oh boy。
兄貴がそうだと言い張るんならそれでいいさ。でもよ兄貴、親父は長くない。来年の今日まで生きてるなんて誰にも保証できねえんだぜ。親父が死ねばその時点で遺産相続だ。俺たちは全員の立場から中立な弁護士と会計士を立てて親父の財政状況を調査させるぜ。
その時お父様の資産に兄さんが不当な干渉をしていることが発覚したならお分かりね。
何の話だかさっぱりわからんね。妻でなくても憤慨したい気持ちだ。
お父さんの黄金はもちろんお父さんの財産や。表に出せん金やっちゅうのも分かっとる。しかし4人に公平な権利があるはずや。
つまり兄貴が黄金を独り占めしていないかどうか、兄貴についても財務状況を調査させてもらうぜってことなのさ。
いい機会じゃない。兄さんの言うところの友人知人にバックアップしてもらったというところを証明なさいよ。私たちはくだらない疑いを持ってしまったことを潔く謝れるわ。ねえローザ。
そうね。クラウス兄さんこそ話をはぐらかしてるわ。 やましいところがないというなら証明してくれればいいだけの話なのに、兄さんはまるで取り合おうとしてくれない。
だがまあ兄貴の立場にも配慮するさ。親父の名代ということで俺たちより一つ多く責任を背負ってるところもあるだろう。今まで散々気楽に過ごしてきた俺たちがそれを察しないでブーブー言うのはこりゃフェアな話じゃないぜ。
ほう、さっきから落とされたり持ち上げられたりと忙しい。本題に入りたまえ。
つまりな、お父さんの財産をあれこれ調べて重箱の隅をつっつくんはブスやないかって話なんや。クラウス兄さんの言う通り、うまく説明できん金の動きもあるやろ。そこを理解した上でわしらは兄さんに相談を持ってきたんや。お互いにとって悪うない相談や。
相談？ほう。
遺産分配時に今日まで親父の面倒を見てきてくれた兄貴のご苦労を最大限に汲み取り、分配に寛大な理解を示そうってことさ。
間違えないでよ。別に私たちの権利を放棄するって言ってるわけじゃないのよ。ただその権利を主張する際に兄さんの立場に立った寛大な理解があってもいいんじゃないかしらという。
つまり条件を飲んでくれたらわしらは遺産分配時にお父さんの財務状況調査をクラウス兄さんに一任してもいいっちゅうこっちゃ。
All of the savings from the EVA downward suspect that Kraus was trying to steal from their father as well. I would believe it. So letting Kraus report the state of that wealth was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. If, as they claim, Kraus was actually embezzling money, Kraus would be able to hide that fact. Besides which, it'd be possible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Kraus, realizing that this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel suspicious. He couldn't help but worry about what they'd ask for in exchange.
ほう、信用ゼロの私に長兄としての信頼を返してくれるというのか。その見返りは何だね。
同じ兄弟としての公平な権利さ。俺たちの兄貴は親父の財産をかすめ取るようなやつじゃない。だがしかし兄貴に融資するパトロンも存在しない。となりゃ、つまりこういうことなら兄弟は納得するわけさ。
兄さんは10トンの黄金を見つけ、それを担保に軍資金を作った。そう、お父様がかつてそうしたようにね。
そういうことならお父さんの財務状況におかしな点は一切あらへん。クラウス兄さんはずっとお父さんの世話をしてきた高校息子や。そないな人を信用せんわけにはいかへん。
回りくどくて分かりづらいな。もっとはっきり具体的に言いたま
え。条件の一つ目、まず兄貴は親父の黄金を見つけていたことを認めること。
ありもしない黄金を私が持っていると認めろと。
Everybody is desperate for that money.
条件2、その黄金について兄弟の取り分を認めこれを支払うこと。
バカな。ありもしない200億の黄金について一人頭50億、合計150億を支払えというのか。
Technically.
バカバカしい。
最後まで聞きなあれ。そない大金出てくるのは分かっとる。できへん取引はするつもりないで。もちろん黄金の取り分についてもクラウス兄さんの今日までのご苦労を十分にねぎらって換算するつもりや。
条件3、黄金の分配は後宮本家当主跡継ぎの肩書きに 50%、 残りを兄弟の正当な取り分として分割。もちろんクラウス兄さんもこれには含めるわよ。
200億のうち125億を兄貴に、 25億をエヴァ姉さんに、25億を俺に、25億をローザに。
Sounds like a reasonable share.
が出る分配じゃないか。存在しない黄金のために、お前たちに75億支払えというのかね。
何よ。兄さんの取り分は私たちの5倍じゃない。私なら踊り上がっちゃう好条件よ。
条件の4、分配金は親父の死亡時に遺産分配に含めて清算する。ただし手付金として俺たちの取り分の 10% を即納してもらう。支払いは来年3月までだ。
どやクラウス兄さん、お父さんの財産をめぐる信頼を回復する絶好のチャンスやないか。さすがに75億の大金はお父さんが亡くなったからやないと無理やろ。だが手付けの7億半はなんとかできんこともないんとちゃうか。
半年で7億ってのはちょいとしんどい話だが、政界財界に友人が多いってのが自慢の兄貴ならなんとかできるだろ。
本当なら今すぐ75億を一括で払ってもらいたいところよ。でも兄さんの立場に配慮してとりあえず1割を納める誠意を見せてくれたら、残りの9割は遺産分配時に持ち越してくれていいってことなのね。1割程度の誠意なら兄さんにだって示せるんじゃない？
親父殿の財政状況調査を私に一任する権利を7億5千万で売りつけようというのかね。上等じゃないか。お前たちも成長したものだ。この私に取引を持ちかけられるようになるとは。
これらを兄さんが飲むなら、私たち兄弟はお父様の財産状況調査を兄さんに一任する。ただしその調査結果は公弁の対象となる。当然よね。75億分私たちの取り分が減るように調整されちゃったら悲しいもの。
God, sorry, I'm not saying much at the moment. There's so much dialogue.
原則的に文句は言わねえつもりだ。兄貴が綺麗にやってくれたならそれでいい。よっぽど露骨なことをしなけりゃ俺たちはことを荒立てるつもりなんかねえんだぜ。俺たちだって早く遺産が欲しい。いつまでもグダグダして取りっぱぐれたくねえんだ。
公弁された場合の再調査は誰がするのかね。
兄さんでいいわ。多分これが兄弟で合議する最初で最後の機会だもの。そんなことにはならないと信じてる。
ローザもたまには言うわね。
By this point, it's obvious that Kraus wasn't at all trusted as the oldest sibling, so there's no need to go into detail. The formerly tyrannical oldest brothers had always abused his privileges and violated the other siblings' shares. It was in response to this that the other three, now adults, were finally teaming up and striking back for the first time. Pretty much, yeah. Which is?
後になってこの取り決めが保護になるような遺言が出てきちゃかなわんちゅうこっちゃな。
入念じゃないか。なら質問だが、仮に本当に黄金が見つかった場合どうするのかね。
それに対する支払いを兄貴が済ませてる以上、俺たちは本当に黄金が出てこようが俺たちの取り分は先払いってな感じになるわけだからな。
夢があっていいじゃない。この島をリゾート化するつもりなんでしょ？その工事の途中でひょっこり黄金が見つかるかもしれないじゃない。
Eva let out a high-pitched laugh. Kraus watched but didn't even flinch.
条件に7をつけてもらおう。私以外の兄弟が黄金を発見した場合、速やかに私に引き渡すこと。
もちろん 保証するわよ。
I'm not sure if we can trust your word on that. It was a play on words. Of course, the others who were forcing Kraus to pay money for some non-existent gold wouldn't save Kraus his portion if they actually found it. From the beginning, this deal has been nothing more than a threat directed at Kraus. Regardless of the actual facts, it was still extremely likely that Kraus was embezzling his father's assets. When Kinzo faced death at last and had his inheritance disturbed, some unpleasant facts would surely come to light. That could easily become fatal to Kraus. The others had spotted this weak point and were threatening their brother under their veil of compromise, trying to wring a huge sum of money out of him. However, they had forgotten one thing. They'd forgotten that their brother's brain moved so swiftly, at least when it came to Kenny and Guile, that they've been forced to band together to combat them. His brain is just running high IQ. While Eva couldn't stop smiling, sure of her victory, Kraus let out a gloating laugh to show how relaxed he was.
とても良い話じゃないか。私もお前たちとの関係が疎遠になっていたことには非常に心を痛めていた。この条件を飲むことによって兄弟間の関係が再び有効なものにできるなら、それは喜んで話に乗らせてもらおうじゃないか。喜べローザ。取引は成立だ。
Rosa's expression dimmed. It was never a good sign when her brother started talking like this. Eva also keenly picked up on this. That's why she was unable to wipe away a sense of unease, even though Kraus had obediently accepted the deal.
嫌に素直ね。兄さんらしくもないわ。
それはひどいじゃないか。私に下心があるというのかね。
Probably.
あるわけもないさ。
All the siblings are probably looking to backstab each other. Just the same as all of you. He seemed to emphasize just that one part. The color of Rudolph's face darkened. To him it sounded as though Kraus was saying, I have a plan similar to yours. So Rudolph panicked. He rushed to bring this nearly irresolved discussion to a conclusion.
ならいいんだ。じゃあ兄貴、ここにサインをもらえるか？今の話を書き出した俺たちの誓約書だ。人数分ある。同じ内容に全員がサインする。
I have the feeling the papers are kind of faked. Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deals written on them.
クラウス兄さんの提案した条件7ももちろん今から追記するで。安心したってな。
One of them probably won't add it. Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket and offered it to Kraus. Kraus made as if to accept, but then, with a small laugh, he drew back his hand without taking it and spoke.
実はこの取り決めを確かに履行するために1点だけ修正を提案したい。
Oh? As soon as Kraus said that single sentence, all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time.
ダメよ。もう決まった話よ。黙ってサインを。
エヴァ、何を焦っているんだね。もちろんサインはする。お前たちに黄金の分け前、75億円分を約束する。親父殿の遺産分配の時、きれいさっぱり清算することも約束する。だが、一点だけどうしても譲歩してもらいたい部分があるのだよ。
何の話だよ。どの点が気に入らねえってんだ？
分け前の1割、7億5千万円を即納する点だよ。お前たちの指摘通り、私の財政状況は決して裕福ではない。
Oh, so he's gonna hold out the money.
数々の先行投資によって、未来、今のこの時点では火の車であることは認めなければならない。つまり、今すぐに動かせる金は全くないということだ。私は無能で詳細の嗅覚も鈍い。お前たちの言うところの弱り目の私には、7億半も半年で動かせる力はないということだよ。
そんなはずはないでしょ。いい加減なことを言ってこの場をごまかす気？
遺産分配時に全て一括で清算する。1割を即納する条件を削除したまえ。それが私にサインさせるための唯一の条件だ。
Oh boy.
クラウス兄さん、この1割はな、 あくまでも兄さんの誠意を図る数字なんやで。本当なら取引の余地もない話や。そこを100歩譲った上で、とりあえず1割の誠意でこの場を丸く収めちゃるっちゅう大サービスなんやで。そう説明した上でそこを断るっちゅうんは、互いの信頼関係にちょいと影を落とすんとちゃいますか？
Rich people not wanting to pay money. Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together, but his eyes weren't calm at all. Cross had already seen through the shadow in the depths of those eyes.
お前たちは何を焦っているのかね、それとも何に怯えているのかね、ローザ。私にだけは教えてくれんかね。他の兄弟たちには内緒でこっそりと。
別に私は。
よせよ兄貴。俺たちは兄貴がサインするかしないかしか聞いてない。妙な勘繰りも交渉もなしだ。
ほう、私には交渉の余地もないと。
Dude, you're already getting like 12 billion yen, chill. Shiver begins to crawl up Rudolph's back. He began to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's complete insurmountable wall, and the long shadow that had existed since they were children.
取引は公平な関係であるべきじゃないのかね。この取引は私にとっては、弟や妹たちと長いことを失ってきた信頼を取り戻し、兄弟、それは私にとって緊急に解決したかった心のしこりだ。それが今日解決できてとても嬉しいと思う。だがお前たちもこの取引を急ぎ締結することがとても嬉しいんじゃないのかね。
Krause stared at each of his siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it, so he was caught by Krause's gaze.
秀吉兄さん、あなたの会社非常に好調子だそうじゃないですか。トントン拍子で上場を果たし、業績も株価も右肩上がり、実にお羨ましいことです。
うちの人の話は関係ないでしょ。
だが株主たちに対する還元を怠ったのが悪かった。そして上場した時に足回りを固めきらなかったのもまずかった。気づいた時にはたちの悪い連中に自社株をだいぶ買い集められていたらしいじゃないですか。
なんでそんな話知っとるんや。
秀吉さんと同じですよ。私に融資する人間などいないと裏を取れる程度に、私も秀吉さんの裏を取れるのです。そんな不思議があることはないじゃないですか。
Krause grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that it started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management effort, the company had achieved success, repeatedly expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stock holding system is that you can sell stock certificates and gain large amount of financing. By the way, thanks on a compliment on the VTuber avatar. The amount tends to be far greater than a business' normal profits, so this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand the business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original investments. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. After all, dismissing management and nominating new management are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by majority decision of the stockholders, and people who hold more stock get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they like. If they want it, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Most companies take various offensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stock and threatening their position, like ensuring that lots of stock is bought by those close to them, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed and he hadn't had time to straighten those defensive measures. Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the danger of being stock listed. It's hard to say he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager, immersed in the work of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. In other words, there existed some people who couldn't let him get away with that naivety unscathed. They began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. They then sent anonymous documents to the store shareholders in an attempt to gain control of a majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the need of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives more back to the stockholders." It's very difficult to make the actual state of a company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, this group had almost collected the majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of a price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that the price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. Put another way, whoever has the most money wins. Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He couldn't wait for the vision of Kinzo's inheritance, since no one knew when he would die.
ルドルフの方も最近は大変だそうじゃないかね。海外は怖いとよく言うが、本当にそうらしいな。
That sudden caps lock text kinda made me feel uneasy.
アメリカの裁判は極めて感情的に決まる。彼らは外国人に寛大な判決など出しはしない。先方と和解した方が結局は安上がりになると、弁護士に忠告を受けたんじゃないのかね。
何の話？
まあ仕事上のトラブルさ。大したことじゃない。金でケリのつく話さ。
Kirie immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rural's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge, and had been worrying over it alone.
その通りさ。世の中なんだって金でケリがつく。失った兄弟の絆だって買い戻せるようにな。アメリカは権利侵害などにはうるさい国だ。だが金さえあれば何でも和解できる。資本主義万歳だよ。
No! Capitalism sucks.
和解金は数百万ドルにも及びそうだとの噂もあるがね。
Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, a niche is a niche. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. Oh god, this again. I'm starting to get uneasy.
ローザは清く正しい妹だ。危険なマネーゲームなどには手を出さない。
Oh boy.
だが、お人よしな将軍が災いしたんじゃないか。連帯保証人は気安く引き受けるものではないと思うが。
A co-signer? Hmm.
それはクラウス兄さんとは関係ない。
Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Kraus watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Damn. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now! Money! In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish the steal, the better position Kraus would be in. Kraus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitudes. Damn, big brain move. Kraus' elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options.
もしお前たちがどうしてもこの兄を頼りたいというなら、私の口利きでスポンサーを探してやってもよいのだがね。おっと、私にはそんなものはいないと言っていたか。それではどうにもならんね。
Jesus, this is like chess. Kraus' low gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth.
冗談じゃないわ。兄さんに借りなんか作れるもんですか。冗談じゃない。冗談じゃない。
クラウス兄さんを頼ったらどう助けてくれるの？
言ったではないか。私にできるのは他のスポンサーを探すだけだよ。もちろん利息を融通してもらえるようには最大限交渉するがね。
I wouldn't trust him.
ちくしょう。足元見やがって。
あなた、落ち着いて。
Breathe.
落ち着いてるぜ。俺は極めて冷静だぜ。クソったりが。
Oops, did I actually... Yeah, okay. Kiria grabbed her husband's hand, but that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Damn! Kraus laughed as though watching something highly amusing.
こんな時、本当に親父殿の隠し黄金が見つかればいいんだがね。そうすればすぐに25億ずつをこの場で切り分けてやれるのだが、残念残念残念至極。非常に極めて実にどうしようもなく残念だ。
Jesus, everyone's a villain.
今宵は兄弟みんなで酒を酌み交わしながら、ベアトリーチェの碑文の謎をみんなで解き明かしてみようじゃないかね。仲良し兄弟が4人揃えば、きっと解けない謎はないはずさ。
Damn. That is a laugh. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the core reason for murder.
面白いことをする。それでその突きつけた条件というのは何か。
Oh, Haskins have been listening.
クラウス様は黄金の発見を問わずにその分け前としてエヴァ様、ルドルフ様、ローザ様に計75億円を支払うこと。 ただしその1割を3月までに支払うこと。
クラウスの間抜けめ、弟たちに足をさらわれるとはな。実に愉快ではないか。しかし爪が甘いようだな。
はい、クラウス様はそれをエヴァ様以下お三人が緊急に大金を用立てする必要があるためとカンパされました。
その程度のことはカンパできるのか。中途半端に無能な男め。今はどうしている？
Fighting about the
話は一
money.
度中断されました。今はベアトリーチェ様の碑文の話をされています。
私の黄金がどこに隠されているのか、その謎を解こうとか。
はい。
Kinzo set down his spectacles and snorted.
奇跡の成就が先か。愚か者どもが黄金を暴くのが先か。実に見ものではないか。愚か者どもが我が謎を解き明かしたなら、我が屍を骨のひとかけらまでしゃぶり尽くすがいい。愚か者どもの貪欲さが偉大なる魔法に奇跡を宿らせるのだ。奇跡の成就が先だったなら、ベアトリーチェは再び蘇る。
Oh, Beatrice
私
again.
が半生をかけて追い求めたあの美少が蘇るのだ。おお、
Beatrice!
奇跡を落とす聖なる夜がやってくるぞ。悪魔たちとのゲームが始まる。私はきっと打ち勝つ。絶対に生き残る。他の奴らの命はくれてやる。富も名誉も財産も黄金も何もいらぬ。
How did
ただお前
you?
の微笑みがもう一度見たいだけなのだ。
And he is dying again. Kinzo choked, apparently in great pain. Kanon got closer and tried to pat his master's back, but Kinzo motioned for him to stop.
なぜ私が黄金の隠し場所をわざわざ人目に触れるように晒したかわかるか？
Probably because you think your grandchildren are dumbasses.
魔法の力はリスクで決まるからだ。
Mm-hmm.
ベアトリーチェの黄金を暴こうとする人間が多ければ多いほど、その危険が高まれば高まるほどに、それでもなお成就できたとき、魔法の力は偉大なる奇跡を起こせるのだ。魔法とはつまりゲームなのだよ。
That's an interesting way to put
優れ
it.
ている者が勝者になるのではない。勝者には魔法が与えられ優れるのだ。わかるか？生命の奇跡が数億分の1という神々しい確率に勝利するからこそ与えられるようにな。お前には少し難しいか。
申し訳ございません。
よい。つまりはこういうことだ。ベアトリーチェの碑文の謎を解いた者には、私が築き上げてきた全てを与えよう。富、名誉、黄金、そして後宮家の家督。私が築き上げてきた全てだ。その謎に挑む資格があるのは何も私の息子たちだけとは限らぬ。たとえお前であっても、その謎を解けたなら全てを得る資格があるのだ。
はい。ですが、僕にはあのような難しい謎は分かりかねます。
無論だ。難解に作った。だが、お前も挑め。それが我が魔法の奇跡を呼ぶ糧となる。誰もが挑み、誰にも至れなかったら、その時はその時。 だが奇跡が集い魔法の力が生まれたならその時こそベアトリーチェがよみがえるのだ。
I hope so. I want to see Beatrice.
だからお前も挑め。誰もが挑め。そして我が魔法に力を捧げるのだ。わかるな。
はい、努力します。
For a long while, Kinzo repeatedly muttered to himself, agitated and clutching his head. Kanon stayed where he was, alert and unmoving, until he was given the next order from his master. Kinzo eventually realized this.
もうよい。下がれ。酒棚に菓子の袋があろう。ダチンに持っていくがよい。
結構です。僕は家具ですから。
I am furniture.
家具は菓子など食わぬか。道理だが。ならばもう下がれ。
はい、失礼いたします。
Kanon bowed and left the study. As the door closed, a heavy locking noise sounded. But it was not the sound of Kanon locking the door. It was the door locking automatically. No one could enter without Kinzo's permission, and once they left, they could not enter again. It was a mechanism that Kinzo, unable to trust his blood relatives, had created to seal himself up in his own study and isolate himself from the outside world. He was already unable to trust anyone expecting, not the children who shared his blood, but those servants who called themselves furniture.
南條様、いかがなさいましたか。
ああ、源氏さん。いや、居場所がなくなりましてな。
With a bitter laugh, Nanjo turned to face the door to the parlor. That look was apparently enough to tell Genji what Nanjo wanted to say. For the most part, Genji also understood the family situation. It must have made him want to frown, knowing that right now, in the lounge, the master he served was discussed so disrespectfully. But it would have been very difficult to gather that from his indifferent expression.
しかし、私にはわかりませんな。どうして金蔵さんはこんな挑発的なものを書かれたのでしょう。
Nanjo looked at the portrait of Beatrice. No, he actually directed his gaze beneath the portrait at the plate with the epitaph.
私には親方様のお考えを分かりかねます。深いお考えがあってのこととお察しします。
金蔵さんのチェスは昔から随分と遠大な読みで布石を打たれるものでした。いや、時には理解できない一手さえ。私ごとき凡庸では何を目論まれているのか皆目見当もつきませんな。
私はこれを親方様の何かの遺言状ではないかと考えています。それを理解できた者に財産や家督をお譲りになられようということなのでしょう。
つまり私のようなよそ者に解かれてしまう前に兄弟4人で協力し合って謎を解け。金蔵さんは息子さんたちのことを口悪く罵ってはいますが、なんとか兄弟
Certainly would be heartwarming if, as Nanjo had suggested, this epitaph had been made to repair the siblings' relationship. However, both Nanjo and Genji knew that nothing could be more impossible than this. He'd known Kinzo longer than anyone, and Kinzo trusted them more than his own relatives. But even they could not guess at his true motives.
親方様は一族のものでなくとも謎に挑む資格があると常々おっしゃっています。南條先生はいかがですか。
いやいや、この老いぼれには少々難解が過ぎますな。実は以前この碑文を手帳に記しましてな。夜な夜な寝る前に挑んでみたのですが実に難しい。お迎えが来るまでの間ゆっくり楽しむことができそうです。源氏さんこそいかがですか
私めは親方様にお仕えする家具に過ぎません。
Damn.
黄金も財産も私には不要なもの。
やれやれ。本当に謙虚な
So
方です。
Genji also thinks of himself as
だから
furniture.
こそ金蔵さんもあなたには心を許されるのでしょう。
ならば光栄なことです。
As Nanjo lightly laughed in response, he once again looked at the epitaph.
懐かしき故郷を貫く鮎の川、黄金鏡を目指す者よ。これを下りて鍵を探せ。
The epitaph on the portrait called My Beloved Witch Beatrice goes as follows. Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. The one who obtains the key must then travel to the golden land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. On the third night, those who remain shall praise my noble name. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. On the sixth twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the seventh twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the eighth twilight, gouge the leg and kill. On the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at the journey's end, you shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all gold from the Golden Land. One shall be resurrection of all dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. I have no idea what to start with this. Let me see. This might actually be a good spot to end the episode for today. So let me save. Oh! There, okay, I'll watch this cutscene and then I'll save and then I'll stop for today.
第10の晩に旅は終わり、黄金鏡に至るだろう。
Okay. So, system? Save. I'm actually gonna save in 2 spots, just to be absolutely safe. I want to check something else, which is... Okay, so these are like bios. I might actually look at this tomorrow and read the bios and look at the character designs a bit closer. Yeah, let's do that tomorrow. It's saved. Exit. Alright, so I'm gonna stop here for today. I think this was a very good spot to stop. That was still a lot of dialogue. We're still not in the murder. However, the epitaph and the dialogue between the parents seem to hint that we will get some murder coming up soon. And some mystery. So I am very curious how this will continue. And I was kind of hoping to end the episode today, but it looks like there's still a significant chunk left. So it's possible that I'll do 2 more streams. 2 entire more streams before we finish this episode. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do Umineko again next Thursday. Maybe I'll do it a little bit later. But I will announce on time what I will be doing next Thursday. There is a high chance I will be continuing Umineko. Because I want to get this chapter done. But yeah, thank you everyone who came. I hope you had a good time. And I'll be seeing you next Thursday on the same hour. Bye!